Look, I don't really see girl as the competition, but if you go against me, you the opposition. But if you want to look like you could close the distance, I'ma give it A forever since you're so persistent. With you, I'm just practicing, cause I'm back to back, let's get back to winning. As a matter of fact, I'm not that forgiving, cause you did this to yourself, that's a bad decision. I don't see no one in front of me, you is a ghost, you ain't got a soul. Whoa, always say that they gon' come for me, knowing they won't, they doing the most. Whoa.
Thanks for inviting me. Welcome to Vegas.
Thanks, bro.
Very happy to see your situated, beautiful house, close to the gyms, right? Happy to be
Real
in
close.
Vegas.
Oh yeah, I like it. It's been like as ironic of a thing it is to say here. I feel like it's been a good place for me to lock in. Honestly,
You're gonna love it. You're gonna love it, especially for everything you do, I think. But let me tell you, because I never really told you in person. First, I didn't really know you, and then I've seen some videos, I've seen some of your Instagram posts, and then I really realized like what incredible physique first, great look, great story behind it, and then improvements that you made was like mind-boggling.
thank you, man.
So then I heard a couple of your podcasts and knowledge that you have, which explains why you're improving. But I also seen some of your guests debating with you, and probably I would love to debate them directly.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
It's Dave Palumbo, whichever camera it is. He says nobody wants to debate him. I did the insulin debate on your RX muscle, and I'll do it anytime. Okay, so officially. So anyway, somebody sent me a couple of links, right? And I don't want to necessarily start with that, so remind me to touch that subject later.
Okay. We'll definitely talk about this.
Yeah, of course.
And if not, I already know there's a couple Q&As that are asking us too. So, I wanted to ask you though, because we went a little bit we went a little over some of your story back the last time we had a podcast with Chris, but I don't think I got a chance to ask you. Oh wait, the first question that we were asking that we were talking about before we started the podcast is about your giant sets.
Yeah, giant
what are you
sets.
doing right now?
Well, listen. People think that I'm only about the giant sets, which is ridiculous. I don't.
Mm-hmm.
I was always doing a heavy-duty myofibrillar kind of typical bodybuilding, progressive overload. You choose 2, 3, 4 different exercises, 4, 5 sets each, progressively heavier. This is kind of thing. I was never into really that heavy-duty Dorian Yates style or Mike Manzer, one warm-up and one all-out. I mean, this is disaster waiting to happen. But I would do high volume and myofibrillar hypertrophy specific. But then when I realized that you're missing the whole other spectrum of sarcoplasmic training, so pump, reps, volumization, drop sets, giant sets, whatever, change the tempo, change the angle, change the grip, change stance, anything. I said, like, wait, why would we be in a box? Even though everybody say fundamentals, stay with the basics, you don't need anything.
Mm-hmm.
I think I mentioned this even the last time. This is like telling you to have sex in a one way to the rest of your life.
Doggy style.
Doggy style or whatever, with same tempo, same range of motion, same. I'm trying to be blunt, for people to catch it, right? So why would I train exactly the same way, same exercise every single time? For granted, Arnold Schwarzenegger back in the day did 5 different exercises for chest. You can say it yourself. It'll be bench, incline, flies, cable cross, maybe dips. And if you go with Lee Haney, everybody else, it's typical, right? But why? Is there no other way?
Mm.
And initially, of course, when you start, keep in mind, I'm in Yugoslavia, 1970s, right?
Mm.
What information could you have even here in the United States? There was not much, So when I start training in 1981, September 19, I'm proud that I remember even the date. I'm a little bit of that kind of freak. I remember, my first time I went to lift weights, September 1981. I took a pictures, right? And immediately I have a progress in my mind, what I'm going to look like in 3 months, 6 months, 1 year when I'm going to compete. This is how I was. So at that time, I had zero clue about bodybuilding. I've seen a good friend of mine, I'm going to say his name, Agot Robert, because he never got any mention. it was Hungarian guy that was in my class, and over the summer vacation, when he returned for the next year, I see like, what happened to you, right? He really improved in size. And I said, I'm lifting weights, okay. Where? In my house? I'll be there after the school. And that's how we started. Initially, it was just like his knowledge, and it was very limited knowledge. Pretty much doing the exercises and then waiting for next day what is going to hurt. It was not that isolation that you can really squeeze the pecs, squeeze the biceps. I mean, that's 50 years ago, right? So I would lie if I said like I had some, major coaching and instruction, and I learned through trial and errors. Obviously, basic is basic. It was bench, incline flies. It was lat pull down, rows, deadlifts, shrugs. Biceps curls. Just typical. And initially, I want to say this because, again, maybe a lot of people are thinking the same way. If you want something really bad, okay, I'm now in it, I want 100%. No, I want 1,000%. So what does it mean? If I train longer and more, I'm going to improve faster, right? So I train literally 4 hours a day. 4 hours a day, right?
Sick.
And at that time, I was under my mom's cooking, which was no high protein, lean or whatever.
What'd your mom like to cook?
What?
What'd she like to cook?
What I like to cook, I don't like to cook.
No, what did your mom like to
my
cook?
mom, it's typical Serbian food. Steak, potatoes, veggies. Everything is with bread.
Okay.
Imagine in economically challenged country when you don't have much money and you can't afford food that you want and nutrients that you want. You need calories, right? So all the families with making sure that you get enough calories. So it's a lot of those empty calories, stupid calories, bread, potatoes, too much carbs and too much oil and fat. Just that would be normal. You need to have energy. You need to, maintain 24-hour activities and have enough calories. And that's what I'm going to say later, which is most important in bodybuilding, that I don't even mention calories ever in my discussion. I talk about nutrients. Body doesn't need calories, even though it's a physiological preference. Number one of your body is energy. Without energy, you can't sustain life. With energy, you're going to get with the right nutrients. Right nutrients would equate to the amount of calories that you need, but it's nutrition that, is important. So initially, 4 hours of training, normal food. 3 months later, instead of improving, I got smaller, obviously. I way overtrained and way underate. And at that point, I realized, okay, I'm going to make a dramatic shift. Might as well, I'm going to point this out right away. My family are medical doctors. Mother, father, sister. Father, doctor of science of neuropsychiatry. Sister is professor in medical university, laparoscopic surgeon, all this kind of stuff. So it's always, you need scientific info, approval. You don't need that much protein. Why would you eat so much protein? RDA is 0.36 per pound. That's sufficient. So of course you start with this kind of thing until you start thinking maybe if I want to build a house and you have 1,000 bricks or 2,000 bricks, you can make a considerably different house, right? So if this is the only building material, I need to increase it. So without influence of anyone, I double up my protein. I got considerably better result, and then triple up. And I don't know if we ever mentioned that subject. I averaged 450 to 550 grams of protein every single day for 15 years straight and journaled.
Yeah.
So my goal was always to have 4 grams per kilo plus. Protein, I would under evaluate. So if I'm not sure that I'm taking 50 grams of protein in this particular chicken, turkey, or beef or whatever, I would eat a little bit more. So I made sure that I have at least 4 and possibly more. More is better. Many is going to challenged me on that. I do not believe there is extremely high protein intake that would be dangerous for any human being unless you have some renal issues. And I'm probably, a prime example of it. I was eating up to 550 grams every single day. You can see my kidney results, my blood results in total. But what I wanted to say, initially, once I start increasing protein and doubling or tripling up, never refusing protein. Like, imagine in Yugoslavia, you go and visit family, friends, and it's normally hospitable nation. They would, bring you some foods and usually some junk that you don't supposed to be eating, desserts and stuff like that. I would never take that. But anytime there was a protein, anywhere I went, I would absolutely eat it. So protein was not to be wasted. Back in that time, there was obviously no protein supplementation, protein powders everywhere in Serbia, Yugoslavia at the time. But some German guy, I remember, he brought, it was called Aminovit. It was Arnold Schwarzenegger on a label, and that was like priceless. And I can tell you, I could afford only like one jar, and I convinced myself that with every scoop that I was doing that I grew. And this is one important thing that I got from my father, who always told me, analyze everything, okay? But anything makes sense, apply it. And when you apply it, inspect what you expect. What you expect, is this happening? Good. It's not, obviously you have to change something. But I visualized all the nutrients, all the food I was putting in my meals, if it's chicken or turkey or fish or beef, that I'm going to digest that protein and those amino acids, let's color them red, okay, would go to be integrated in muscle, and my biceps that day would be red, obviously. 20 different amino acids, it should be different colors, but I would literally feel it. I eat the protein, that's perfect nutrition, I'm gonna be rewarded with building the tissue that I want. If I would have a junk food, French fries or bullshit that people eat, how can I convince myself that now I'm gonna get some nutrients, useful nutrients, that are gonna benefit my physique? Mm-hmm. Absolutely impossible. Mm-hmm. Therefore, I would never eat junk. There was no option. Today I had a pleasure of talking to Tristan Lee. He said hello. Yeah,
I love that guy.
And kid that is so disciplined that as a teenager he managed 5 years of keto diet. Imagine at that age, when you need the energy, when you need the carbs, when you need to enjoy it, he was so disciplined to do it. Mm-hmm. I'm not that disciplined, but I would pride myself with inspecting what I expected, because I was writing everything down. By the end of the day, I have to check a good day, good week, good month. And basically, I had maybe 2 or 3 days in a span of a year that I would not be perfect. That I allow myself maybe birthday cake or occasional pizza or stuff like that. Discipline is highest form of self-respect, right? Mm. And if you're driven and you want to achieve something, I'm from Yugoslavia. There was no Yugoslavian bodybuilder on international scene. As soon as, I think I told you this, if people didn't hear it, but you heard it, sorry, you're going to have to repeat, I'm going to have to repeat myself. I made a 5-year plan and I wrote it on my journal. In 5 years, I have to be winning Mr. Universe, turning professional, qualifying for Mr. Olympia, and making a living off of bodybuilding. That was my plan. So 87, I remember that also. There was October 17. I went to United States for Miss Universe contest. I placed 6th and then 3rd, 88, 89, I won. I turned professional and qualified for Olympia, my first pro San Jose Pro Invitational in 91. I competed in Olympia in 91. And 92, I signed a contract with Joe Weider, 15-year contract that lasted. So pretty much I accomplished everything that I wrote in. Okay. But the reason why I'm saying is if you're just having like broad goals and not specifics, you don't put a time and a date and exacts, you're not going to reach it. I had those goals. I think I mentioned to you already before that the only thing that I regretted now that I'm retired and old, why I didn't really put a requirement for me to win Mr. Olympia, you know? I wish I did. I don't think maybe it would be realistic, but I wish I had it, because many times when I analyze, especially nowadays, some shows that I did, physique that I had, if I maybe put a little bit more effort, I could have maybe be very competitive, even on Olympia stage. I did.
What's up, homies? I'm back at my new place now in Vegas, and we just came out with some new shirts for the transparent merch. None of the basic shit. Now we got some new sick styles, a little bit of a metal and rock inspired, some other shit, you know, and then also a bunch of new colors. So you guys want to check that out on the site? That's www.icons, spelled AYKONS, icons.com/Nile. That'll automatically apply the Nile discount code and get you right to the site where we have the new designs up. And some of the stuff like the cutoff are 380 GSM French terry cotton. So pretty high quality stuff that were helped design by my boy Dion, one of my best friends in the world. This is the guy that he and I went through a lot in life in the last decade as our best friend Ryan passed away. And I'm really happy that I got to do this with him. But anyways, this is out. So if you guys ever need anything or you have any complaints, I'm fucking here. Just let me know. Let's ride this shit out and grab life by the balls, baby. Peace. What do you feel like putting more effort would have looked like?
Effort for specifics for, let's say, back. Back was a little bit underdeveloped, and I kind of didn't like training back. And I had that excuse, you know, sometimes when you kind of don't want to focus and be honest to yourself. At the end of my career, I have to admit that I had a chance to train with Ronnie Coleman, with Dorian Yates back in his gym, Temple Gym in Birmingham. It was like eye-opener. I mean, execution that he had, amount of weight that he did, intensity, I mean, it was mind-boggling. I don't know if I ever told you about Ronnie Coleman experience. I trained with him many times, but back only that one time, and I would never repeat it again. Did I tell you? Do you know? Because I don't want to bore you. But here it is, 2003. He comes to my gym, and he saw me on the desk. He said, "Bud, you want to train?" I said, "Of course. You know, let's go. What are you going to do?" Back, and I was just like, after my quadriceps repair surgery, and I didn't really train that much, but, you know, kind of. I mean, training, but not really to match Ronnie Coleman. So, okay, Ronnie, I'll follow your training. First exercise, T-bar row. You know, when you stick the barbell into the corner, but I had a little thing that it was perfect. It's okay. I put the 2 plates, and I said it before, but people are going to make fun, but I say, Ronnie Coleman, hey, what's that? I said, what do you mean? Like warm up. So I did my warm up with 2 plates. How many do you think he put? First set.
Oh, dude. Fuck.
6.
6.
6 plates.
I was going to guess 5.
Yeah.
Goddamn.
And he did 8, and he did 10, and he did 12. And when I said 12, and I said, you know, Milos, you're so full of shit, you know. And then thank God he had a video that he did at 12 plates in Texas, right? That was his normal thing. Second exercise, bend over rows, you know, wide. It was not closed and not reversed. It was like shoulder width grip. 3 plates, 4 plates, 5 plates, 5.5 plates. Next, again, like we didn't row enough, we go to the dumbbell rows. And unfortunately, I had only 200 pounds, unfortunately for him, because he was playing with this and very disappointed. And then we went into the deadlift. Next day, he was parking in my, gym parking, I ran through the back door because I didn't want to. But you want to train? I mean, he was a special kind of guy, really. So to answer really your question, if I'm fully honest, yeah, I could maybe train harder. That one body part, which is back. Obviously, I'm criticized for arms, and you would think like maybe I didn't train arms heavy enough or intense enough or whatever. Didn't isolate. I feel isolation, that when you do the concentration curls, you literally feel like muscle's going to explode. It's not like a rock hard, but it's steel hard. But there's different level of hardness when you squeeze and when you squeeze like a maniac and when you squeeze the juice out of the lemon or it was painful contractions. I would feel everything. Triceps. I had feathers on my triceps. I had a kind of striated biceps and all that. So you wouldn't volumize for whatever. It wouldn't grow. I did some super heavy barbell rows also. We were doing 225, 100 kilos. Of course, swing, cheat curls of Arnold Schwarzenegger, but still curls. And then I did, obviously, lighter and squeezing. And it just, I'm criticized for arms. That's why I went for the shortcut, the whole Synthol regret story that I have, but you can't go back. But anyway, so.
Wait, what did arms look like in your split?
I did the split. Normally, I would do triceps with the chest and biceps with back. But then I tried to, have just the arm day. And I did even these double sessions, morning, evening. So morning would be heavy duty and evening would be giant sets. I would either do morning, completely triceps, heavy duty and giant sets, evening, heavy duty and a giant sets, biceps. So I did every single combination. And now when they tell me, what is your favorite split? There's really no favorite splits. I mean, I tried to also chest and biceps, back and triceps, mix it. As long as you accomplish in a workout what you're trying to accomplish, initially you do the chest, shoulder, push-pull, chest, shoulder, triceps. And I realized I would do chest perfectly. Shoulders would be kind of compromised, and maybe triceps would not be that good. But,
yeah.
You know.
That's how I feel about it too.
Yeah. So it's too many things, And I also initially thought more I train, more frequently I train. So I train everybody 3 times a week, which was obviously too much. And then, 2 times a week, and I kind of felt guilty. And then as you progress, you end up training once a week, body part. I'm never into this overtrain. I think I'm going to say it. Nowadays, the people are just being ridiculous pussies.
Well, I feel like intensity-wise, you can't overtrain as long as you're not getting injured. But I think like you said back then when you were a kid and you were training 4 hours a day and then not eating enough, you can train a little bit too long and just do too much volume. I think.
Can, as Dorian and Mike Manzer said, you can train either long or hard, right? You can do both. But I've seen Serge Nobret, Paco Bautista, Andreas Munzer. I mean, they were literally training 6-8 hours a day. When I moved to San Diego, I'm going to say this, it was a gentleman that looked, Walker was his last name, I forgot the first name. He looked just like Serge Nobret, I promise you. Same size, same muscle quality. It's like, wow. And he was working in my gym, working out in my gym. I was working at Jacqueline Lane's in San Diego. This guy was training 8 hours a day. Every single body part, every single day. Countless. I mean, nobody can repeat that. 8 whatever. 50% of the exercise was catastrophic execution. Like, oh my God, it hurts to watch. But he has one of the best physiques ever. So I learned early enough, Absolutely. You should feel the muscle, do correct. And like many influencers nowadays are showing, yeah, that's the correct way. But I also train with the guys like John Brown, for example, whose intensity level is ridiculous. And for him, fight with the weight, lift the weight, challenge. It's as long as you can hold the barbell, do another rep, another partial, doesn't matter. This kind of mentality, right? So I experienced the both things, and I implement it in my training. I don't know if you see some of my YouTube videos. Many times I would go just for extreme control, full range, squeeze, like he owes you money, okay? And then now forget about all those things and just balls to the wall. Just lift the goddamn heavy weight. I don't care if you pull with the primary muscle of your whole body. Now it's a challenge time when be the athlete, lift the weight. It's new stimulation that maybe you normally don't do.
Yeah.
So I like to combine all that stuff.
I feel like I have this theory that I think you can train as hard as you want to. You can train that intensely as long as you can be on top of your recovery and you can recover in time for the next training session. And I feel like people these days in this modern era just have a little bit too much going on, whether it's in their heads or in their daily lives. Things are moving faster. Now you have cell phones, now you have social media. I feel like there's a lot more like allostatic load stresses that are coming from different places that's kind of inhibiting people's like recovery. Plus, I feel like also genetically, I feel like as a species, we're becoming less physically adept. And I think we have to compensate for that.
Yeah, but you use the best word, adaptation. That's all there is to it. You can adapt to this or you can adapt to that. You can adapt to, 30 minutes 3 times a week or 3 hours every single day. And I've seen and people adapt to it and you force adaptation. I said usually overtraining is impossible if you are not under eating and under sleeping, right? But if you have that cover, you have enough nutrients to replenish everything and you build new tissue. With all new tissue, you should have new strength and new ability for higher intensity.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not the same guy like you started a year ago, right? So all those things, you raise the bar, but it's too much noise. Less is better. You don't need it. Muscle doesn't grow when you train, but when you recover, muscle is stimulated when you train. You have more stimulation. You have plenty of times. There's 24 hours in a day. If you train 2 hours a day, there's 22 hours to recover. Don't give me that bullshit excuse. But people nowadays, no, less is better. So for me, I'm more into that. More is better, but it comes with the experience. It comes to the point. First, to explain, I'm not into giant sets only. But the giant sets bring the crazy pump. And when you reach that crazy level of pump that you would want to have, if this is the last time you would be ever photographed, and the humankind is going to remember you with this picture, right? This is what I was trying to achieve every time during the training. Like you're going to step on the Olympia stage and fight the best of the best. So during a training, besides stimulation, heavy duty myofibrillar stimulation, I would always want to achieve absolute maximal pump. But I did overdo. So I would do 2, sometimes 3 giant sets rotations. And you could feel when, you start losing the pump.
Yeah.
And that's obviously a sign you should go the moment you feel that. And that's different for somebody.
Can you explain giant sets for the people, for the audience that isn't familiar?
So normally straight sets, you pick the exercise and you do for a certain amount of reps. Then people start combining 2 different exercises as a superset, usually for the same body part. So no rest in between. What I mean by that, rest has to be at maximum 10 seconds between first station and second station. Because nervous system takes a long time to recover. If you do something heavy duty, that's why we take a 1 minute rest to maybe 3 minutes. There's more research that 3 minutes is better than one, regardless. But muscle recovers super quickly. And that's why I don't allow more than 10 seconds between two stations. Then when you add third exercise for same muscle group, that's called 3-set. And then fourth one is a giant set. So that's how I started. Giant sets that I would change grip, tempo, angles, whatever. So I would hit that one muscle that I want from every single possible angle and muscle stimulation kind. I could do stretch overload. I could do peak contraction. I can change the tempo on every single rep, change the angle of every single rep. I was just always out of the box, not to be different, but not to follow. Why would I follow? I have my own mind. I can create my own exercises, right? You can do 10 reps of the same exercise and do all 10 of them differently, even though you're listening to, let's say, Jay Cutler explaining about Ronnie Coleman's squat, and he says first rep was exactly the same to the last one, like perfect form, perfect. Okay. I would maybe go super slow, or I would maybe pause on the bottom and then explode. I would do slow eccentrically, explosively concentrically. Next time I would reverse it. Why would you have to repeat exactly the same? If you after stimulation, you say adaptation, you adapt to same. If you sprinkle every single possible way, it's much harder to adapt. So that's what I was doing with the sarcoplasmic kind of training, giant sets, because I always believed like superset, okay, it's not bad, but isn't 3 exercises harder than 2? Obviously, if you choose to do whatever for 2 exercises, and now I add third one next time. Next time I added fourth one. And as I had Dennis Wolf, Hidetari Yamagishi, it was Celia Samuel, it was Armin Schultz, Joel Stubbs, Johnny Jackson, Dennis James, whoever was coming, I put them to experience that. And that's why all these videos back in the day, 2006, 2007, it was not fake. We didn't have a social media to do for any other reason, but we were doing this because I believed it worked. And usually when they come and stay with me for a couple of weeks or months sometimes, intensity will be crazy. It will be 2 workouts a day, 6 days a week. No such a thing as overtraining. Don't cry to me. You're here. You're a pro bodybuilder. You came with the intention to be the best possible. Sleep all you want. Make sure you eat all that. And then when you come to the gym, that's Colosseum rule. You can talk, you can say hello, you can wave, you can take a picture until you step on the gym floor, and then don't let me see you say hello to somebody. I will kick you out. There's no reason for you to say hello. You can say hello later. You know what I mean? I think we touched that subject too. Because after hellos, how you doing? You look good.
Yeah, man. Fucking conversations go on so long.
No, and nowadays this is gym culture, right? They see you.
It's frustrating though, because you lose your pump, man, and that fucking sucks.
You don't stop brain surgeon in the middle of the brain surgery to ask how is his wife and did he walk the dog? So I mean, really, I wish, and if any of you guys are listening, gym ethics is on the gym floor, you do not talk. At the front desk, parking lot, if they have a space, people can gather, yes, but so you don't want to be an asshole and tell somebody, hey, don't bother me. And I'm guilty of it lately because I soften up. Nobody does this, so even when I go to the gym and I see you, I say hello. Either when I say it, if I don't say hello, maybe you're going to be offended that I didn't say hello. And then when you come here, but you see, I kept it super short. I didn't want to take too much of your time. Yeah, so intensity is that. And mind. If my mind is straight into bicep training right now, and I said hello to you, my biceps is now separated with saying hello to Nile and smiling, being pleasant, and getting away from my intensity for my next set of bicep.
Honestly, we could list out a long list of all the peptides that have helped us. You guys have heard these peptides and these research chems in the podcast maybe a million times. Peptides I've used from APR such as BPC 157 and TP500 for soft tissue healing, retatrutide and other GLPs, mitochondrial support such as SS31, MOTC, 5-amino-1Q, methylene blue, SLU. There's a bunch of others. Obviously, the list goes on and on. One of my favorite things, though, that I've been utilizing, such as during my last prep, that has allowed my blood work to come basically pristine, aside from slightly elevated liver enzymes at about 60 and 130 1 week after the show. And this is after a leg day because my dumbass doesn't want to skip a training day. These are probably the things that I think are the most important. So this includes like your injectable glutathione, injectable or even just normal NAC, liposoluble glutathione, GI aids such as oral BPC, oral TB, KPV. A lot of these things have probably been very substantial in reducing oxidative stress and keeping all my blood markers down, and thus keeping me as basically healthy as fucking possible that you can be while you're bodybuilding. So I couldn't be more thankful to Mike for literally showing me the ropes and also providing me with all of these things. Even the compounded supplements that he creates for blood pressure and reducing oxidative stress on all your organs, including your cardiovascular system, your liver and your kidneys. All of these that he creates have been very substantial, honestly. So you can find any of these at his site, aprhealthsolutions.com. And he has offered me a code Nile for you guys to use, which will offer you a 15% discount off of all of that as well. If you guys end up using those and you like him, please let me know. Shoot in a comment, just give me a DM or something. And if you ever have any problems or any questions, I'll be here too. This is a community for me. Even though I don't have a fucking Discord because I'm lazy as shit, but I fucking should make one. So love you guys and keep training hard. We were talking about arms and how it was hard for you to build those. Yeah. And I know that everybody has their own like genetic body part that may be a little bit difficult, unless you're Ronnie Coleman, maybe. Or maybe he did. Do you know if you?
Ronnie is freak. No, you see his peak of the biceps and
yeah. Well, what do you think about using something like IGF-1 to help improve the weak body parts?
I heard Dave Palumbo said that he's one of the first ones using it. I actually took a picture of my pages because when I would use something new, like I was using IGF-1 in 97, I put the label of it. You know, it was for research purposes back in the day only. You know, it was super hard to find. Yeah, I use it. You know, did I use long enough? I hear his stories and I believe it. You know, what did he say? He gained like 20 pounds in like no time. It's
he said something crazy, and then he said also like back then he feels like the quality was different, so he had to use a lot less, like 20 micrograms.
Yeah, it's actually originally came in nanograms, and I have actually labels of that too, not micrograms. You know, nano is 1,000 times less, and I agree with him. 10, 20 micrograms would be more than enough, but people start using 100 and then more than that. It's just that stupidity in bodybuilding that always, if one is good 10 times, it's 10 times better.
Yeah.
Therefore, I do 100. You know, it's. I tell you, should I? Assume you want to say, did I try IGF-1 in a bicep triceps? That's usually.
How did you use it?
Yeah, I would use. Exactly. 10-10, 10-10.
Okay.
Yeah. 40 micrograms.
Okay.
Yeah. I would do sometimes long head, sometimes short head, and outer triceps, long triceps. You know, obviously you don't have enough space to put like, because you have like small amount. So if you have 10 micrograms would be like 10 units, it's like almost nothing. You know, so it doesn't even feel like you're injecting anything.
Yeah.
Especially comparing to later on Synthol, there was 5 ml at a time.
Yeah, that's wild, dude. I can't even imagine, man.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I'm ashamed of. Yeah.
It's hilarious. I had a friend that just we made a joke. My boy Tanner showed her how to inject peptides for the first time, and we joked that she's not natty anymore, even though she's never done anything else, but literally like what was like BBC or GHKC or something. Yeah. But she was like screaming and squealing that she had to inject it in her fat. Yeah. And I'm just thinking, imagine all the guys that were injecting 5 mils. Yeah. 5 mils into their shoulders.
All over the place.
Yeah.
All over the place. I've seen some people inject chest, which is unthinkable for me. So now imagine 1.5 inches. I said that story, I'm going to say it again. There was Contractions, and right in front of me, which, I coach him. He didn't like his chest. He said, no, don't do it. But he wanted it anyway. So 1.5 inch. And you don't
my God.
You don't look like you have 1.5 inches of a pecs over there.
I feel like he's going into his heart.
It was disgusting. And then he would, do this 1 cc, pull out, and with the same needle, second time, another cc, and pull out, and third time. So by the third time, it would be so dull that you can feel that that is ripping. Like,
It's funny.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever done I have never done a 1.5 inch needle in my life.
Well, listen, I agree with whoever is claiming this. If you do the short, you can blunt your separation tie-ins and serrations. Armin Schultz, good friend of mine, the guy, German guy with the greatest arms ever. I mean, it's crazy. I could see within a year, he was shooting steroids, not Synthol, in adults. And because he was using the short needle, which he realized midway through that he blunt all the fibers and he lost that separation. So if it goes deeper in the muscle, it's much safer to maintain your natural feathers. You
know how short his needle was? Was it a 1/2 inch or a whole inch?
3, okay, that was...
3/4.
There's a 1.5, 1.25, 1, and then I think there's 3/4.
There's 3/4. Yeah. He used 3/4. Okay. Okay.
I don't know how many centimeters is that, but it's not good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, I use a 1 inch, and I feel like that's always good enough. But then again, I'm also a lot smaller than you guys were. So
yeah, I would still do 1.5 inches. You have plenty of tissue there to go do. Go all the way.
All right, I'll think about it. As far as the arm thing goes, did you ever feel like, how long did you run IGF-1 for in your arms, and did you feel like it made an impact?
I didn't. I had a 97, and 97. I love my physique 97. I think that was my greatest. I won Canada. I was second night of the champions. Then we went to European tour. Put it this way. When I tell you I placed 10th at Olympia, 9th was Ronnie Coleman, 8th was Chris Cormier, and it was like super tough. Mm-hmm. So we go from Olympia to European tour. First show is Hungary, I remember. And there was Kevin and Nasser and Paul Dillette and Lee Priest and Jean-Pierre Fuchs and Vince Taylor and all of us, right? Mm-hmm. Ronnie, Chris. I beat Chris in first show. Next show, Chris beat Nasser somebody who lost to Dorian, and everybody agrees that he could have beat him. 1 week later, and Chris beat Nasser, I think, 2 or 3 times at that European tour. Kevin was winning all the shows, and then, I don't know, you didn't maybe follow. Then Ronnie Coleman beat all of us. 97 Russia, last show of the year. Mm-hmm. So keep in mind, he was 9th at Olympia. And then next year, he won the Olympia. Mm-hmm. And after he won that Russian Grand Prix, only one time he lost. First show, 98, was San Francisco. Kevin beat him. He was second. Kevin shouldn't have beat him. But then they went to Canada. Ronnie beat him there. And now the champions, Ronnie beat him there. And then Olympia, as you know, he won Olympia first time, 1998. When I say that at that time, there was like so many competitors that can flip-flop. We were changing, Lee Priest was beating us all in the beginning. Then, by the end, he would lose the condition. I would beat him in a couple of shows. So But 97, I used it and I felt it. Were my arms great? 97, of course not. You know, but I wish I kept them instead of ruining with Synthol. I wish I kept them. And yeah, as far as training, I could not tell you. I could have trained differently because I tried every possible thing.
Yeah.
And during a training, I would feel it and I would almost cramp up. You know, when you squeeze and almost cramp up, it's the most beautiful feeling. You know that's it. You know, if you can squeeze the chest, there are different levels, right? Squeeze harder, and then squeeze and make yourself cramp. And if you do it on the chest, you're going to have to push your forearm to release it. I'm serious.
Yeah.
You know, these kind of things. They talk about time under tension. You know, there is time under maximum tension is a different story altogether. So when you squeeze, you pretty much squeeze every single time trying to reach the cramp. And it's not going to happen on the first rep or second or third. But if you keep squeezing like a maniac, by the end of the set, you might cramp.
Okay. The reason I like asking about the IGF-1 is because
I know that you use it on the quads.
Yeah. You know, so people have been asking. I even had some people reach out to friends of mine and asking them if they could ask me what Patrick's plan was for my legs because of how much it grew. And I always say this every time because this is the only thing I can think of, but the only two variables that I changed were my training. So training frequency, training volume.
You did more?
Yeah, it was more for sure than I used to. Right. So then I was doing legs twice a week and hitting each muscle group. So like quads, hamstrings, calves, about 7 sessions on average, 7 sets on average each time. So it was about 14 to 16 sets, I'd say, each week on each muscle group. Obviously, I would do something like a compound like hacks first, but the training was different than before. And then the second variable was IGF-1. Was me utilizing IGF-1 on those days.
So you were doing a lateral portion?
Lateral portion in the quads, right? Wherever I just injected it right where I was hoping that the sweep would peak out a little bit. Yeah. Not that like that's going to do anything, but you know, you like to.
Yeah, I like to believe it.
And I'd be doing about 40 micrograms, 40 to 50 each? Micrograms. No, 40 total. So about 20 to 25 micrograms in each quad. Yeah. And then I would sometimes do that on hammers.
I was blown away with the improvements you made on your quads. When I was going through your videos, and initially, I mean, you have great structure, absolutely, but it's like the legs were kind of missing to be wow. And then your legs became wow before even you see the rest of the physique. So whatever you did for legs, you see, that's kind of Chris Bumstead that 1 year when he improved his back to the point like you can't even compare Chris that year before 2018, I think. Yeah. 2019, like, whoa, what did you do? I mean, you should be published. What you did for your quads, I mean, yeah, I would like to know. Yeah. Because you really did improve dramatically. Because I have, obviously, some athletes, and I never recommend injection of steroids in the quads.
Yeah.
I never do.
Yeah, right.
You know, so, but IGF, especially now you made me curious. And
right. Well, my new experiment is going to be that now that I have different parts that I need to improve. So obviously I need to gain 70 pounds of mass in stage weight overall for me to reach my weight cap. But the judges preferably, I think, in my mid back and maybe in my chest area need to grow. I would say overall, like just the upper body needs to grow a little bit more than the legs, but everything all together. So this next off season, I'm focusing on chest right now. Maybe chest and arms, but mostly chest. And then at one point I'll be focusing on mid back. But if I can see that growth be more substantial than my growth in my legs this year, then I know that the IGF-1 has been making a significant difference because my training isn't changed for my upper body.
It's most anabolic hormone, of course. It does make sense. Now, I've seen some picture of you that your waist is not existent. Like, whatever you posted like a few days ago.
Yeah.
And it's like
everyone thinks my waist is getting smaller, but I'm just getting better at posing.
No, but that's like unbelievable.
Thanks,
so
bro.
Chest and back are power muscles. So somebody that has such a small waist, if you improve a little bit chest and back, that's going to multiply, like be like 5 times more than some guy with a wider waist and just thick guy. So that's what I'm saying for people that have a small waist.
Mhm.
If you have that crazy full chest and, thick back, it's going to look much more. You might be 10 pounds heavier and look like 30 pounds heavier.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
What about lats? What do you think about lats compared to those two muscle groups?
what I mean, is it important or
Because obviously,
injecting?
when I'm on stage,
Uh-huh.
obviously, I think all that matters is like, how are you compared against the guys next to you? And unfortunately, on stage and in person with those stage lights, I say about every single time, the people in the audience, including the judges especially, can see how much your chest pops out or how much your back pops out compared to the guy next to you.
Yeah.
And so I obviously allocate that to just how big your chest is or how big your rhomboids are.
Yeah.
But in a division like classic, I feel like it's just so beautiful to see a shape that's crazy.
Yeah.
Like
extreme V taper.
Extreme V taper.
Yes, which
Right.
I'm still mind boggled that front lat spread, back lat spread is not included in your mandatories because that's like shape poses, and that's what you want. So your question was like, what I think of lats as a muscle? Or?
Yeah, like what if someone prioritizes lats more over
over
thickness in classic? Do you think that makes
that
would make a
you
bigger
are not
difference?
expected to be super thick, right? The width, the structure, extreme V taper is what matters the most. More than if you start building too much of the thickness, they're gonna categorize you as you should go to open, you should go to 212, right? Pretty much like when it's too much muscle on a classic physique guy, they say, you should go open on 212.
Yeah.
I don't agree with it. It's still, you see, the whole thing about, I love classic, absolutely. Why do I like classic? Because for me, that's bodybuilding. Classic shape should have been prioritized over the muscle mass. And because they start mixing it together and they have mass monsters also, and then they will have Dorian winning, Sean Ray being second, and then Nasser being third, like two monsters, and then, so they didn't have a specific criteria.
Yeah.
So now they have a classic physique. Classic is very popular from the purist standpoint. I think that's bodybuilding. Bodybuilding without a small waist is no longer bodybuilding. It's, I'm sorry, freak show. And if you don't have a small waist, how can you consider yourself really successful bodybuilder?
Yeah, yeah.
That's the first most important thing. Chris Cormier said perfectly. It all starts and ends with the stomach. That's what you want. But somehow they're looking that way. But classic, they're not looking that way. Classic, you have to have a small waist and a V taper. And that's judging criteria for classic. It should have been the same for a bodybuilding. What I don't like about classic, you have that weight limit, and now beautiful physiques, they're right there like Mike the Badass, right? So now he no longer can improve his physique because he already have to, diet down and make the weight. It's stupidity. It's counterproductive. It's painful for me to, and I've seen 20 guys that look so much better, look perfect, like Mr. Olympia winning physiques, classic, if they can compete like this, but they have to die down and they lose it.
Yeah.
But lats, when you say also, I know a lot of people that were injecting lats and having a crazy growth. Not just, I'm not talking about IGF, I'm talking about steroids. Yeah. There was such a noticeable width. Dorian did everything in a lat.
But you don't think that those people that were injecting their lats are also the people that are intentionally going to the gym to grow their lats, focusing on their lats more? Yeah. So I mean, maybe it's more of like a psychological thing.
It could be, but you know what is the problem also? which people might not realize. If you do every other day or every day injections, you have to put them in some muscle.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I guess some people just prefer big old lat muscle and they don't feel the pain, that they can do this all day long. So it's not necessarily they want to, that site injection improvement, but I've seen it with I don't know if I should mention the names. People get offended. Major Olympia competitors that the lads grew like 2 inches on both sides, like Jesus Christ, to the point that made me want to do it. And then, I want to do it, but to do it yourself, it's super hard.
Yeah.
You have to be like super skilled,
Or as small as me.
I don't know. Okay, I'll say one name. Dennis James is the one that turned me into this. And then a bunch of guys follow his principles and lads would just go East Coast, West Coast, like holy hell. Yeah.
Fucking sick. Before I ask you about insulin, if you guys are wondering, shameless plug, IGF-1. Now that I'm not with Transcend, I'm getting it from Optimize, so pharmaceutical grade, which is nice. So I'll be able to update you guys on whether or not I feel like that was a more substantial variable in my leg growth after this year.
I must ask you something because it's important now. And for IGF-1, back in the day, like in the 90s, the scare was it's carcinogenic. It's majorly, dangerously carcinogenic and not suggested to be taken for a long time and high amounts. I knew at that time 12 pro bodybuilders. They got liver cancer. They were all using IGF-1.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's good news.
It's not a good news, it's bad news. So, but then again, it's like, oh, this is so potent. And so that's why I kind of agree with Dave, what he said on your podcast, that 4 weeks on, 2 weeks off. I would probably go 4-4,
4-4, but only on the muscle group you're trying to improve?
Yeah, I mean, the 4 weeks, no. If it's an anabolic agent, you want to improve every muscle, right?
Yeah.
We all do. But especially the weakness. I would use for every muscle.
Okay.
By all means. But a 4 weeks limit.
Yeah.
And then for at least 4 weeks off.
Yeah.
It's kind of scary. I mean, I didn't do this researches for a long, long time. That's my 1990s. The reason why I was so afraid to use it, when you do want to risk certain things, but cancer, not really.
Yeah.
And then especially when I knew this Russian guy and the Spanish guy, they're like, oh, wait a second. Yeah, that's why I pretty much don't recommend too often. I have my guys maybe twice or 3 times during a year maximally on shorts. Okay.
Sure, 4 week spans. Okay.
I stretch it to 6.
I totally agree with you, especially if someone's using it for every muscle group. That's why I particularly like to use it specifically for my weakness, because that way it makes me also psychologically feel a little bit better about the fact that I'm only using it like once a week or twice a week maximum. Yeah. And then I cut that period of time short as well. I don't run it the entire year. But I think the most important thing that I normally tell people is if you're going to do this at all, be brave enough and have enough money to do the cancer screenings. Because, cancer screenings too is normally you're getting a cancer screening for each independent organ. And if you want to, you can do the, what is it called? It starts with a P. It's the full body scan. I'm brain farting. But anyways, that full body scan is, I think, it's something that I want to do, but I've heard that from some doctors, it can create some exclamation marks in places that might not actually be a concern, but obviously is going to lead you down further testing, which means you might just be spending a lot more money. So in my opinion, if someone doesn't have the money to do this, I think it's a good idea to just kind of avoid IGF-1 altogether if you want to be safe and you feel like you have cancer running in your family, which I do. Yeah. Otherwise, people should probably do all those scans.
Yeah, it's one of those things, right? When you start gambling and you have a Russian roulette with 1 bullet in a chamber, it's okay. Once you put 2nd and 3rd and 5 bullets, then you can expect what's going to happen. Yeah, I like IGF for what it does, but not for what it stands for, because if side effects are so scary that they can end with the cancer, that's no.
For those guys that got liver cancer, do you know if they were doing orals too at the same time?
I mean, listen, there's no pro bodybuilder that can, you can single out, oh, he did only orals, or only injectables, 90 NOR, or DHT, or testosterone base, or, everybody does everything.
Yeah. But I think there was a lot more bodybuilders doing orals in the off season than they are nowadays, because everyone's on that little like Primo and Mass wave where you're just using a secondary compound to inhibit some estrogen.
I mean, you think that nowadays it's not so much orals?
I think people that are trying to be a little bit more conscious are trying not to use orals in the off season, especially considering that most of the time it affects their appetite or their gut health, and now people are a little bit more focused on gut health these days.
Yeah, you see, back in the day, especially, you mentioned people don't like to inject themselves. It's painful, or they're scared, and so taking a tablet was so much easier. Most of the people, I know many that only did orals initially. That was more than enough. Some of the top pros, Olympia, materials that I'm not going to mention the name. They started just with the D-ball. D-ball would be the cycle, first, second, third cycle. D-ball only.
Yeah. What about with insulin? Do you feel like, did you like to particularly use, I mean, from my knowledge, you like to utilize insulin around your workout every day, on every training day, right?
So let's try to make sense. And I see that maybe with the Dave, you maybe didn't agree, but you didn't really question him too much. You let him have it. So if you don't agree with me, please challenge me. That's what for people to look at.
I have a feeling I might agree with you more than Dave's point in this.
But let's. I can't teach you anything. I can make you think. Socrates, basically, quotation that I love. Why would anybody do insulin? Why would be insulin even used in bodybuilding?
Give a break to your pancreas, shuttle the nutrients, especially glycogen, into the muscles.
Anabolic hormone, okay? Just from being anabolic hormone is reason to use. Transporter of the nutrients. Do I want something that can transport, all the nutrients, amino acids, glucose into the tissue? Yeah. So primarily it is to regulate the glucose. But idiotic thing that Dave said, and you let him have it, it doesn't store fat. Well, this is the most idiotic thing anybody has ever said publicly.
He didn't say that it didn't store fat, but he was saying that it only pulls, I believe, carbohydrates out of your bloodstream, not fatty acids.
Yeah, it doesn't do amino acids. Guess what? You have a potassium, you're hyperkalemic, right? What do? They shoot you with insulin to take potassium out. You want to take L-carnitine into the tissues. How you do it? Insulin will drive it in. It does everything. Fatty acids as well. But for him to say that it's only glucose and, glucose is going to be converted into the fat. Google it, ChatGPT it, ask anybody if you didn't, have the studies. De novo lipogenesis, conversion of carbohydrates into the fat. Super inefficient in humans. It cannot happen. It doesn't happen. It happens such a low percentage. I'm going to say this again for all the, I'm afraid of carbs and carbs convert to the fat. It's not going to happen. It's so sparse. It doesn't happen. 5-10%. Okay. De novo lipogenesis. He would say that, insulin is going to convert carbs, to be stored as a fat. Why would it? And humanly, that's not possible at a large scale like he would represent. Fat, absolutely. So now, as soon as you take insulin, you inhibit fat burning. This is why you don't want to use insulin for a prolonged period of time. You mentioned I use insulin when? For a training. In anabolic phase of the day. If it's a phase of the day that makes sense to use insulin, because I'm not concerned about fat burning at that time, but I'm concerned about what? Shoving all the nutrients into the cells, okay? Shoving amino acids and glucose. He would say, oh, amino acids are going to be like, but yeah, it stores amino acids as well, stores fatty acids as well. That he says it doesn't. It does very much so. That's why diabetics are fat. And that's once diabetics start using insulin, especially that long-acting insulin like he does, okay, you're exposed all day to the inhibition of lipolysis, so you don't burn fat. And then any fat that you have, it has a much greater chance to be stored than if you would not use the insulin. And that I proved a million times with many of my clients. So why would I use insulin? Just when it makes sense. When I train, I think I explained this last time, only fast acting because I don't want a long action.
Yeah.
He mentioned at your podcast R back in the day. And R didn't have 2 peaks, as he said, it had only one, but it's comparing to Humalog. Humalog is 15 minutes onset, 45 to 75 minutes peak, 3 to 4 hours duration. The R would be 20 to 40 minutes onset, 2 hours to 3 hours is peak, and up to 8 hours is there. So back in early 90s, we would do 2 times a day R, so that's how Chad Nichols used with the guys and so on. But in general, the only time when you want a long action of insulin is maybe carb loading day, because at that carb loading day, you want to all day long to store. Uh-huh. But normal day, absolutely not. Because normal day, you're going to have some of your fats anyway. Right? Uh-huh. So whatever you're going to have fats, you're going to stay away from insulin. But then when you're going to do the insulin, 45 minutes before the workout, like I do, because 45 minutes later, insulin is going to peak. But once you start training, as we discussed this, all the contractions increase blood flow to the exact muscle. From 10%, it goes to 60, 70% of your 5-6 liters of blood going now to the exact muscle that you're training. And if anything is in the blood, insulin is going to take it out. Even though if you chat GPT, it says you can't say this, it's not so exclusive. I say it's not select. It has a little bit selection, but it does drive majorly glucose. Well, let me tell you, glucose you want, because glucose is what is used for muscle contraction. Mm. I think we touched that subject. In your normal training, you're going to easily burn 100, 150 grams of either glucose or glycogen. Mm. So that's right there. Your glycogen storage, let's say if it's on conservative note, what science is telling us, 500 grams of glycogen storage you have, and maybe 70% muscle, 30% liver. 70% of it, it's 350 grams that you have there available, right? They've used the concept of you can drive the car with a half gas tank and a full. Yes, you can. But what is the look that we want to achieve? Like I said, fully loaded glycogen compensation, right? When you're full, bursting full all the time. So I would prefer that my guys close to the fully loaded glycogen. Mm-hmm. They can deplete a little bit during a training and they replenish it. Because glycogen stretches that muscle, gives you that fullness. Performance goes through the roof. And it gives you the size. Yeah. Yes. Mm-hmm. 500 grams of glycogen would be like almost 3 pounds on a scale when you step on. Because 2.7 milliliters of water, right? So let's say 500 times 3, 1.5 kilos, 1.5 kilos is 3 pounds. You don't lose anything, just deplete your glycogen, you're going to be 3 pounds lighter. You fully loaded glycogen, you're going to be 3 pounds heavier. Yeah. But anyway, when we were talking, should we or shouldn't we use insulin? You mentioned before, use IGF-1 on the days of the weaker body part. So I told you in the podcast, I would always give my guys on their priority muscle, for sure. But then when they experience and they like it and understand the concept and make sense, why would I not want to be anabolic, maximally anabolic in every session? And I allow him. You said the insulin saves pancreas. Yes, beta cells of pancreas. If you would take shitload of glucose, dextrose, glucose polymers, right? Beta cells would have to, work so hard that you would burn them. So it's like basically doing a job for them. I used insulin since 1993 to 2003. I was calculating somewhere probably between 3,000 or 5,000 injections. My fasted glucose is 70 milligrams per deciliter.
Right now?
Yeah. Throughout my whole career, okay? Dave mentioned about like every over 40 years old, has a high fasting glucose. None of people that I know has. And I know people that I work with. I didn't have. Okay? And why would I have? Now, if you do use long-acting insulin, like he recommend, because he wants to counteract growth hormone hyperglycemia and insulin resistance, yeah, do a little bit more studies and really see what people experts are saying. Is this really happening? The wrong kind of diet and implementation of pharmacological things like long-acting insulin. What sense does it make to take 24 hours insulin that would all day long prevent you burning body fat? And then all day long would expose you to possibly storing the fat that normally wouldn't really happen. It's not just that caloric if you are over-caloric. Let's touch that subject too, now that I'm talking. Everybody's talking 24 hours a day, calories in, calories out. If you're in balance, if you're in deficit, and why is 24 hours important? What happened in, let's say, 5-hour period? In 5-hour period, you can do so much damage and store fat, okay, even if you're totally in 24 hours in a deficit, especially like this if you drive it with the insulin. So you eat shitload of junk, sugars and fats, okay, and insulin is through the roof. What's going to happen? It's going to wait. It's not going to store it. It's going to store it 100%. And I had those examples. The people that would eat once a day, same amount of calories, in one meal or in 5 meals. Same macro, same everything. If they would go with the junk throughout the day or junk at once, they would gain fat guarantee.
Okay. Just to challenge this a little bit.
Please.
I know that you could easily just use it before and after your workout, but do you feel like using it before your workout is a little bit more effective than if you were going to compare it to after your workout, since glucose uptake?
Yeah, so here it is. Most of the theories initially would say deplete. Have a microtears of the muscle fibers, deplete the glycogen, and then let the body replenish. So for that reason, they were only using post-workout. And post-workout, you have that anabolic window that says like, okay, first hour is most important, but really 6 hours after you have that anabolic window, that physiological preference of your body in that 24-hour period is now the 6 hours belong to the stress that you put your body through. You tear the microfibers in the muscles, you depleted the glycogen, okay, you stress yourself enough, and now body's going to want to take care of that first. So priority, muscle is priority. That's why this 6 hours period, and they say it goes much longer than that, but first hour is boom, and then second, third, fourth, five, six, it's still muscle is your priority for your body. That's why a lot of people are only using post-workout and post-workout insulin. Okay, this is how they did.
I think what I was thinking though is like, I mean, just from training, you already have a much better and more effective uptake of glucose after the workout, right? But before training, you don't have that yet. I mean, obviously, if you have glucose running through your bloodstream, then the training is going to, I think, help partition that in a better way once you get to training. But like, say that you wanted to I don't know, fill up your storage, or you just needed to fuel up before your workout, you use insulin prior to that workout with your pre-workout
this is
meal.
Why I implemented also before.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so it was common to do it only after. Trash the fibers, trash the body, trash the muscles, and then replenish it.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can replenish it, more effectively with the insulin driving all that even more. So you have a physiologically what's happened, and then pharmacologically enhanced physiological process. So what would normally happen, insulin just emphasizes that much stronger. But this whole thing that you said, and I'm glad that you're thinking that way for people that I don't. And this is my hyperemia advantage system. I realized that, and that I got this from my dad, who told me, did you ever think about it? And I think I told you the story. He says, would you send empty airplane, whatever, to Australia with no passengers? Why would you? There's no passengers. There's no point of flying. He said, if your blood is now going through the muscles that you want to train, stimulate, and feed, why would you not supply everything you want to supply that muscle with in the blood, in pre-digested state, and then during a training, create a reason for the uptake? Okay? And of course, he didn't use injectable insulin, but dextrose at the time, monosaccharide, exactly equivalent to glucose, with essential amino acids. That was my principle since 1983, that I was using essential aminos, I think I told you. Mm-hmm. And there was no creatine, no glutamine, no things of that nature, but it was dextrose and EAAs. 6 liters of blood that you have right now, maybe 10% is in your muscles right now. No reason for your body to enhance the circulation into the muscle tissue now. Why? You're not using it. As soon as you start doing something, it goes a little bit more, and then with extreme physical activity, it raises dramatically. But weight training does the most. So leg training, I had some numbers I can remember right now. There's like 100 times enhanced muscle flow in a super intense leg workout. So imagine getting 100 times more flow than normally. And if in a muscle, that you're doing right now, all these contractions, those contractions are causing uptake of the nutrients, and you actually have nutrients in the blood, and then you have insulin present, it's 1,000,000% guarantee it's going to be inserted. So I would like to challenge Dave when he says it's worthless. And then he mentioned something like, I do 300 grams of carbs and a burger would be more important than all the shit. I'm a protein king. I had more protein, with all my clients than any other coach ever. So my protein, constant influx of amino acids is always there. Amino acids available. Carbs I use accordingly. What you need, what you don't need. Like I said, I wouldn't use them when I don't deserve them. I could, limited amount, but I would prefer maybe fats at that time with a little bit of carbs. But in my anabolic phase of the day, this is a time when I want to push everything, and I want to have only maximally needed nutrients in pre-digested state to be pushed in the muscle. This is when I would go with a little higher carbohydrate intake. I think I told you before, yes, I did sometimes 100 grams of dextrose during a training, hour and a half of training. Yeah. Is this excessive? Yes. But if you use a certain amount of insulin, like I use 20 units of Humalog. To maintain glycemia and not go to hypo, you need to maintain this throughout the workout and in between sets. And results were mind-boggling. Obviously, certain body parts you can do that, like legs. If you drink so much, and especially your amino acids in citrulline, glutamine, arginine, betaline, whatever you take, it might affect your stomach and you might puke, right? But chest, shoulders, arms, it's always, super safe because you're never going to make yourself sick from training. That's when you can really overload. Back depends if you're doing more pulling rather than rowing. If, rowing day and you really go balls to the wall, bend over position, it's kind of hard. So I would reduce the amount of insulin and reduce the amount of glucose taken, for those days. But yeah, anyway, whatever I was, challenging Dave, that he would say that it's possible to have that glucose in the blood during a training and not transporting it to the tissue, muscle tissue. So it's one way, direction is there. Isn't that exactly what we want? Don't we want to insert amino acids as well? Yeah, he used the term, they're going to piggyback with the glucose. Yeah, they're going to piggyback with the glucose. And originally he says, insulin is not an anabolic hormone. Later on he corrected. He says, indirectly it creates what is anabolism? Increased protein synthesis and reduce protein degradation. More plus and less minus. So we want to push. That's why I call anabolic phase of the day. I think I describe you, I have a 24 hours in a day. I have a maintenance phase when I just eat exactly what I need between the meals, okay? I have a fat burning phase if there is a guy that needs to lose body fat. If you do not need to lose body fat, why would I put you in a fat burning phase? There's nothing to lose, right? So ideally, if you are lean, you don't need a fat burning phase of the day. You just have a maintenance phase. But my training, if I'm true to myself, maximal results, would I have the same results if I don't use insulin? Or if I use it? Obviously. If I use it, it's going to be greater results. So how can I deny that?
Okay.
Because of all the drama of the last company that I was working with, and I'm not trying to point any fingers or anything, but you guys definitely have probably heard what was going on. I've been a little bit skeptical, to be honest, and I've been wanting to find an HRT company that I could work with and that I could get my blood work done with, and that would offer me some proper guidance without upcharging all of my homies and shit. So there's this kind of crazy opportunity that I feel like the universe has granted, because it's not something that I searched for necessarily, but ended up being through connections with my closest friends. And it's this new company I was working with, Optimize HRT, which Nathan was recently discussing. And I just gotta say, man, I'm really proud of everything that they've created and everything that they're standing for. They're trying to take advantage of the fact that they know what went wrong with the last HRT company and trying to make sure that that doesn't happen this time, if you know what I'm saying, and doing things the right way. So this company is where I'm getting my blood work done from, and basically getting all my health measures and protocols for longevity checked. And basically the difference between an HRT clinic and a research chem gray market source is that the HRT clinic works with a 5083 compounding pharmacy. You can get all your peptides and your medications prescribed by the doctor. If you're not getting a hormonal peptide or medication such as testosterone, nandrolone, winstrol, or anavar, which you can get prescribed to yourself if the need is shown, such as like osteoporosis or some other muscle wasting disease, then luckily you can get the peptides prescribed to you without having to get blood work done. But they do offer a $100 membership that includes free blood work, which is normally a $420 panel every 3 months. And with the membership, you also get a wellness specialist that is like your peptide coach that will, with the doctor, give you the best peptide protocol or medication protocol to make sure you reach your goals. And these are goals such as fertility goals, cutting down and getting fucking jacked, composition goals, longevity goals, basically everything that you can imagine that is fucking sick for dudes. The other great thing, aside from getting everything prescribed, which obviously you can show your destinations if you're traveling, your prescriptions, so you're not getting thrown into jail in Tokyo or some shit. It is sent with cooling, needles, and instructions, which is actually illegal for research chem science. And in terms of safety and quality, Optimized HRT does work with a 503 compounding pharmacy, in which the FDA checks for its inflow and outflow currents to make sure that there are no vortexes that cause contamination, which yields the highest threshold of safety, basically. So this is on an opinion by opinion basis. Like, if you decide that you want to go the cheaper route, then normally gray market sources that are research chem sites will normally offer these for cheaper. Since the company is still new, they are offering their peptides at the lowest cost that they can in respective to other HRT companies, because they are trying to get their member base up. So if you are wanting to join an HRT clinic, now is probably the time. And that link is going to be in the description if you guys are interested. You could also use code Nile whenever you apply, because that helps your boy out and gives me a little reference and gives me some creds. So they know I'm sick and that people actually like the podcast, which would be pretty awesome. Since I am helping with the start of this company, I want to make sure that this is the best company that could possibly give us the best experience. So if you guys happen to have any questions or any concerns, bring this shit up with me, man, because I want to make sure that we all grow this to be the best that we can, and we all grow together, obviously, because otherwise my podcast is shit and everything that I've like worked for is like fucking pointless. So that's what it's all about, bro. Is family and brotherhood and us getting fucking yoked.
I saw something else that you posted that I thought was super interesting. It was on low dose T3 in the off season. Yeah. I saw that in the it was like a
it was
the book. What was that book?
It was Dr. Paul Greenhoff and myself discussing that. Nottingham University actually took a picture of the cover of the book. Excellent book. You should order it. It's really good. And over there, it specifically says about T3 increasing protein synthesis, which a lot of people think that that's not the case, because thyroid is supposed to increase metabolism. It could be more catabolic than anabolic, you know. But low doses is established, and actually it's in that book as well. So I would use low 12.5, 25 micrograms of T3 always, you know, off-season, pre-contest. Of course, I would break it, not constantly, continuously, but when you're in a major, everything perfect kind of off-season, I would add to it. Growth hormone also suppresses thyroid function.
Yeah.
You know, so for multiple reasons, it makes sense, and I always use it.
Okay. I'll just, maybe if I can show this, because I haven't pulled up.
That post?
I don't think it's gonna work. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe you can just overlay it.
Yeah.
But I thought it was super cool that you posted this. It says high levels of thyroid hormone also increase the rate of protein degradation, although low levels also stimulate synthesis, which is why obviously you say you keep it low.
Yeah.
Do you think that would work the same if you utilize T4 since it converts to T3? Or is it?
T3 is way more effective. Yeah, and many countries don't have actually T3 at all. You know, it's hard to get it. You know, in Serbia, in most of Europe, we don't have it. Here, for some reason, Americans have a Cytomel. Yeah, I absolutely love Cytomel. I have a great views on low dosing. However, which I've seen a lot of people way overdo it. And it's just like every other hormone you're playing with, it can, you know, consequentially be catastrophic, or it can be beneficial. So, example, insulin. You have an endogenous insulin, okay, that does the job. So now if I have exogenous, would it be determined? Would it be scary and damaging, or it can enhance? Well, if you use it when it makes sense, it can enhance, okay? That's why we use it. Steroids, testosterone, right? Your body is making it. So when you add testosterone pharmacologically, exogenous, okay, is this better or worse? Well, if you overdo it, now you have all the side effects, and it can be detrimental. I couldn't say that word. But this is why microdosing or overdosing. Anybody that is in bodybuilding, right? So you start bodybuilding, you want to enhance your physique. You want to enhance your muscularity and strength. Is this the goal? But you want to do it naturally. Okay, that's no problem. But the intention is to enhance your physique, build muscle mass, right? That's what you're doing. So when you say, what can you do? Oh, I can do it through the specific training, okay, then specific nutrition, maybe specific supplementation, okay? Well, but pharmacologically, oh, no, I don't want to touch that because that can be dangerous and unhealthy. And that's how it was back in 70s. The only thing that you can read about anabolic steroids is going to just damage your health. It's going to be, what do you call it? I'm not going to say catabolic. It's going to be detrimental to your health. You're going to absolutely ruin your health. It doesn't do anything positive, but it can just hormonally wreck you, and then you're going to have a consequence the rest of your life. Well, I think I mentioned to you, I used since 1987 to this day.
Mm.
I didn't have a single health problem caused by steroids that should be expected to. Now, in bodybuilding terms, you have you lose hair, you have a gyno, you have pimples, not even that, but cardiovascular. I mean, I don't want to present to the world my blood test. You know, that should be private, right? Renal, hepatic, cardiovascular, pristine. The only thing, as far as lipid profile, I do have genetically. My mom, my dad, my sister, everybody that never lived day in their life, they have a increased LDL, and I have a little bit reduced HDL, obviously. But, triglycerides perfect, and ratios are still okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, what do you feel like that is? Is it just because of the doses you used?
So this is what I'm saying. Like, if you're doing everything smartly, most of the naturals are natural because they're afraid of steroids. Okay? Or they think, it's not ethical. Why would it be not ethical unless you're in Olympic Games or some tested competition? Okay, then absolutely. But if you already start bodybuilding or whatever sport to enhance what is your normal, and you do eat perfectly, and you do take supplements perfectly, and you do train perfectly and all this stuff, but I'm not going to touch this. Well, if you understand that this pharmacological agent can enhance your recovery and muscle building and anabolism and protein synthesis, whatever, prevent degradation, why would you not take it? Oh, because it's not ethical or it's not healthy. There are two reasons why naturals are natural. And if they experience it and learn a little bit more about it, I said that before, anabolism is constructive metabolism, not destructive. So you're not going to ruin your physique. And like I said, it's going to be detrimental to your body, but actually can enhance your health. I do think that I'm healthy because I use everything the way I use it. So if I didn't use insulin, I would probably burn my pancreas for 10 years of training, doing intra-workout supplementation.
Because you were eating like upwards of 1,000 grams of carbs, right?
No. They exaggerated. Normally it would be 400 or 500 grams of protein and 400 or 500 grams of carbs normally, unless I do the big body part that I want to raise it to 600-700. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. How tall were you?
I was 5'10" and a half. I'm maybe 5'8". No. It's interesting. Because I watched your podcast with Dave last night just to hear what he had to say. And then he said he also lost like an inch. I lost more. I literally, when I went with Regan Grimes and Logan Franklin to one of the shows, Reno, I think, they had a weight scale and, to check your height. To say, I didn't do it since 83 when I was in the army, and I was 179 centimeters, which is 5'10" and a half. And in one show in Texas, I was 5'8" and a quarter. I was like, God damn. So this time I said, probably that scale was wrong. So let me be like 5'9", and I was 5'7" and 7/8". And that was the last time that I stepped on the scale. I would never do it again. I'm shrinking.
Fuck. I have a lot to look forward to.
Yeah. Especially if you have it genetically. Yeah. My grandma from my father's side was shrink down to nothing. It was like crazy. Yeah.
Did you do anything for longevity during your career or even after? When
what
you
did I
retired?
do for longevity?
Yeah.
I mean, look, anti-aging principles and longevity, obviously, you don't want to just have a lifespan. You want to have a health span. Everything I do, I said bodybuilding because it's healthy. I don't care what people do, but you do unhealthy things. Yeah, I incorporate something, again, in a healthy way. I never abused it. So do I think that the use of testosterone was like, oh my God, you know, you're going to cut your longevity in half? Really? I told all my relatives and all my good friends to use it. Just enhance your natural testosterone, what makes us who we are, man, right? Bigger, stronger than women, and more aggressive, more sexual, more, you know. So why would you not want to bump it up? So now TRT clinics are replacing what you have lost. But what would happen if they would just slightly enhance what is natural? Don't forget that the reference range, it doesn't mean the most optimal. This is just average, 95% of the people, and they have reference ranges. That doesn't mean that you should be in reference, because do you want to be normal or you want to be somewhat enhanced? And somewhat enhanced, like what I've been since 87, I haven't had a single health issue. But people would say like, oh, I'm full of shit. Okay.
Right.
The only thing that I can tell you, my joints are wasted. My joints are wasted, and that's due to probably some crazy intensity workouts and being a macho guy, and you want to be a man, and you want to do more than the guy next to you, and you want to break your personal record. But other than that, I did experience that insulin. We talk about that one. Not insulin, the Synthol injection that went into the vein and caused congestive heart failure and all that shit. Yeah, that happened. But that was due to the poor injection, not the substance.
Synthol. Yeah. Do you happen to use any supplements now?
I mean, regularly. Look, I would take from macronutrition. I talk about, we don't talk about calories, we talk about nutrients. So make sure I have enough protein, good carbs, essential fats. Okay. Then you have a micronutrients. I have to have my vitamins. I have to have my extra zinc, extra magnesium, acetyl-carnitine. I used to actually overdo it. And I did some video that people criticized me because I was, it is on my, I have the same breakfast for 40 years video, which I do. And then I had like about 30 capsules. So like this is over the top. Coenzyme CoQ10, alpha lipoic acid, all these kind of things. And then at one point I was traveling and I didn't, bring it with me. And then I kind of get out of the regime and I stopped overdoing it. So I'm just doing those, what I found necessities. I've seen that you have a whole arsenal of things that you do. Yeah, just that way.
Okay. I agree with you to an extent. I do believe that, and I think a lot of guys these days too are doing TRT at a higher range, so their levels go to a higher range than normal or than they would have had previously. And in my opinion, as long as you have the genetics for it, or you're just managing your cholesterol ratio or your oxidative stress overall, then I normally don't see any of these guys running into issues. But there's a lot of people that I think aren't as informed, and so they don't really do any of that managing of their health, nor maybe they'll do frequent blood work and then try to get advice from the doctor, and that'll be helpful, right? Because it at least gives them a direction of where to go, depending on where the genetics are. But I think a lot of guys kind of just brush over the fact, and there's a lot of people that will like maybe just take a higher level of testosterone, but not pay attention to how they are reacting to it personally. But more often than not, if you're pretty conscious of it, I don't see any people running into issues.
I heard that you were down to like 195 nanograms per deciliters in that interview, that your testosterone was plummeted down.
Yeah, 170, yeah.
Yeah. What would be a normal?
Well, my problem is I didn't get blood work done on my test before I ever took an oral. So I don't know what my total test was before I ever took anything at all. But I can tell you, whenever I'm in my cruise, I drop down to 150 to 160 mgs of test. I think that gets me around 900.
It fluctuates.
It could be a little higher.
I completely, again, I'm agreeing with Dave as he recommended to you and everybody to get off completely, because that's how we were in the 90s. You're off, you're on. There's no such a thing as cruise or maintenance. It was always, my golden rule was whatever on, half off. So if it's as long as 16 weeks on, then I would take 8 weeks off.
Damn.
If it's 10 weeks on, 5 weeks off,
That's so crazy, though. I don't know if people could.
Everybody, I mean, us, Dennis James, Johnny Jackson, Royal Elves, anybody. I mean, this is what we were doing. Sean, I mistakenly said that he got mad at me that he's 6 months on, 6 months off. He told me that, but it was not the case. He came in to explain it was 3 months on, 3 months off, and then I guess repeated. But that was common.
Yeah.
Seriously, none of us touched it. And I know that you're still debating, is it smart to do it or not to do it? You can, with your PCT, you're already using your clomidine, you're already using your HCG. Why would you need to, throw in the testosterone in?
Yeah.
Why?
I think just for the mental benefits and making sure that your testosterone's still within range. Like, I think if your total test can get back within range doing that PCT, then you should do that. Then, given this, like, if you believe that these theories are right.
I mean, normal range. I said it should be illegal to be under 1,000 total.
No.
It should be not allowed. If you're under 1,000, go get the shot. And I operated most of my life 12 to 1,500, and I felt great on it. And did I ever think that this is, super physiological? No. It's just because I'm higher than optimal, and optimal is average. And as you know, throughout the years, testosterone is declining. Like back, our grandparents, your granddad had probably twice as much as you would have now. As you say, throughout evolutionary changes and environment and everything. I do think that testosterone should be used by every man. More or less, how much, that's the difference. If it's 150 milligram a week or 200 or 300.
Yeah. I mean, I've been responding really well the last few months since I've been back. And now I'm just so curious whether or not it's just because I took
off.
Well, that's the thing is I did about 6 weeks off, and then after I realized my test was at 171 and I wasn't recovering. I wasn't recovering well. I just fucking jumped back on. Yeah, 160 test. So
but
I mean,
6 weeks is good.
Yeah,
6 weeks off.
6 weeks off, but then again, I was on for freaking like a year and a half. So like that's definitely not even close to half. But I don't know. Whatever it was, I'm responding well now. So.
Yeah, that's the case nowadays, that people don't get off at all. I do had one guy that told me that he was 7 years straight. Oof, Canadian guy.
Damn.
Yeah, and not Regan.
I feel like at that point you just have to keep.
But I really think so. When you consider that you're pharmacologically enhancing, and that pharmacology can affect you a certain way, you have a cycle that you're going to choose. 6, 8, 10, 12 weeks, maybe 16 weeks max.
Mhm.
Okay. And then you should clean out. Clean out meaning do not touch it. You can take PCT, and I highly recommend it always. I did this throughout my whole career, and I did 110 shows, 72 pro shows. Obviously, okay, I didn't use, let's say that 85 shows I did on a cycle. The remaining were like, drug-free.
Okay.
It's tough to talk about this subject because I'm going to be evil guy, telling naturals use it, right?
Yeah.
Because that's a bad thing to do.
Mhm.
I was natural before, and when I realized all my efforts, I think I told you, I came to the United States. I want to compete at the highest level. I want to win Miss Universe. I want to do this, and then I realized that I'm highly disadvantaged. The people that are using, look different, and they can do much more in a short period of time. Then when I researched and I realized, okay, first, it's just a little bit of pharmacological enhancement and being more of the man. Okay, so when you read anabolic steroids, oh my God, it's what? Doping. Oh, so what does it mean? It makes you bigger, stronger, faster, more muscular. That's a bad thing? Right? That's a bad thing? But it's a beautiful thing. Okay, so now why not everybody uses it? Oh, because of side effects. Well, okay, side effects, or it's Olympic Games or whatever drug tested contest, but ethically it's not approved. But other than that, like, why would I not use it? Monitoring my side effects, not letting my body into the position to have a side effect. And that's why we talk about that's what podcast. Microdosing is way to go, because initially you don't know what is effective dose. But if you microdose, you're not going to overdo it. And then you can always double up on microdose and see how that goes. But then create the cycles. Now you're on, and then when you're off, that's one thing I think I mentioned. My training partner at the time was powerlifting California champion David Pletcher. We had that rule. We have to train not just as hard, but harder when we are off than when we are on. So every time when it was that off cycle, we would train like a maniacs.
Damn, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I actually feel like I believe that the opposite can be done effectively. Because
Opposite? Like what?
like I believe that muscle memory is really powerful, more powerful than people think. So whenever
Absolutely.
you take, say, whenever you're taking like a health phase or a break, I think it's okay to take those periods of time, especially if you logically and structurally titrate everything up when you start. So everything is like a stimulus that you're progressing.
Mm-hmm.
So training, nutrition, obviously the PEDs that are introduced.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's why you see a lot of guys that, like, even if they have to take some time off for like a surgery, like Terrence Ruffin for his hair transplant, or Jordan Hutchinson for his gyno surgery, like they'll shrink a little bit during that time, and they're not even allowed to train, you know, during that surgical period of time. But when they jump back on, they just blow back up to their normal size, and then they exceed that even further.
Yeah. I heard that was also a topic with you and Dave, right? And let's say you're not enhanced, you're training your natural, but you want to progress. So everything you do naturally, you're progressing, right? So you don't change that thing. And then you have a cycle that you do the steroids that's going to enhance, but you still do everything the same, right? This is just pharmacological enhancement of everything that you're doing physiologically. You create the stimulus and growth, by the recovery, nutrition, all this stuff. So, well, when you get off the cycle, you continue with the same thing, right? And like say, you kind of enhance it because you still want to progress. You can't progress when you're off. You can. I promise you, I was from 1991 competing continuously until 2003. There was never, I felt overtrained. I competed 10, 12 times a year. Okay, but you need a break. You need a break for what? This is my passion. This is my profession. This is what I want to do. And every day you want to make it count. You don't want to just count it. So if I go, I'm now going. I have a good friend of mine, athlete. I don't know if you see him in the New Tech gym, Alex, who I force him to basically get off of everything and now train like a maniac. And that's what he's doing, right? That principle, and he's improving off. And then, of course, as soon as he touches the rest, like you said, muscle memory and now all this pharmacological enhancement, he's going to blow up. But even now, instead of going down, expecting, I cannot make muscle if I'm drug-free. Every drug-free guy is making muscle. They don't choose to have a pharmacological enhancement.
Okay. Are we saying, though, train like a maniac, like he's training more intensely? Because I would assume that your recovery is not going to be as optimal as when you were on. So you'd have to have some extra days maybe in between.
But, okay, if you train once a week each body part, can you really overtrain?
I think once a week should be chill. Yeah, you could do once a week for sure. Yeah, I feel like you can go super hard once a week.
So that's what I say. Like, do we need the exercise? So you have a chest one day, you have a back one day, shoulders, quads, hamstring, arms. How can you possibly overtrain?
Yeah.
Why do you need more rest? What for?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's I'm so vocal about this overtraining. It pisses me off when people say.
Okay.
None of the guys are saying, they were never overtrained.
Mm-hmm.
They're under-trained guarantee.
I just felt like I needed to define exactly what we were talking about, like training by like a maniac for the audience, just so they know. Because I think there are some areas, like, for example, if someone was training 3 times a week or 2 times a week per body part, then maybe they would have to change it to 1 time a week.
Possibly. I mean, I don't know your schedule, but if I would tell you right now, I don't know you really, I didn't see you really train and all this stuff, but I would tell you now this theory, I'm your coach, like I'm Patrick right now. I said, now that you're going to be off completely, I want you to go in the gym and kill yourself more than normally. So what would that be? I don't know, your training. But now you go with that mindset, okay, I have to do better than my last workout for chest. So whatever that is. Yeah, you're going to try. Maybe your strength is not going to be all there, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But you're going to do extra set or 2.
Mm-hmm.
Or throw in something else.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Patrick was big on sarcoplasmic hypertrophy too, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, cool. Do you utilize any peptides now? Because I was thinking about, now that you're talking about your joints earlier, I feel like
I tried everything. I tried very early BPC and TB500, of course. Everything that I recommend to anybody, I usually use it. So, of course, even though initially I didn't believe too much in the peptides, they tell you what you want to hear. That does everything. Anti-aging, mitochondrial, the energy, grows your hair, grows your dick, whatever else, I mean, this is how the business works. But I was very open-minded to say, okay, let me try it. So I tried pretty much everything, okay? Tesamorelin, I would always say that there's no possible growth hormone releasing peptides that can compete with growth hormone. And I still stand behind it.
Yeah.
But did I feel any effect? Yeah. I use CJC, of course, Ipamorelin. Because I want to experience it. But once you experience a real thing, pharmacological strength of something, and then there is compared, you realize, if I didn't use this one, I would probably feel it. And most of regular clients, they would never go to the GH, but they use peptides. They feel the difference, so you can say it's not good.
I just feel like utilizing BPC, TB, and KPV injectable is an effective way for bodybuilders to kind of like keep on their joint health nowadays. Because we all get
99% of the people that use them, can tell us same thing that we are saying.
Yeah,
it's very powerful and recommended to use for sure. I had a lot of people that complain about many other peptides that they felt nothing. Okay, they use NAD, you know, they use the MOTS-C. I mean, because it all became so popular, so everybody's using it. But I asked them, tell me how did you feel different? Okay, and they can't really determine. And then usually you find out they don't use one or two, they use five different things. I mean, are you big on it?
I'm big on it and I like it. I feel like I feel like a lot of different peptides have been effective for me, but I also just think it, like, if you can afford it, you know, if you can't afford it, then only the ones that are good for reducing oxidative stress and longevity are probably necessary, like glutathione, in my opinion. Yeah. But I will say though, in terms of GH, obviously I'm still using GH for my bodybuilding purposes in my off season and in my prep. But for example, for on days off, for some reason I sleep better on testosterone.
Yeah.
Not sure if that's because of the natural pulse, but I just do for some reason.
I use it. I don't know. I'm always honest to myself. Look, my father, as I said, neuropsychiatrist. So what is the big thing in neuropsychiatry? Placebo. Okay, they would give you the medication to solve something. There's nothing in it. But because you would get it from a doctor prescribed and all this stuff, like, oh, this is a lifesaver. So, you know, he told me that a million times. And he even used some with me and basically told me, okay, what is going to do. And it would do it, whatever it's supposed to, but it was nothing in it. It was sugar pill, right? Majorly, when I started steroids, and then back in the 90s, we would have a pharmaceutical grade from the pharmacies. Now it's all underground. But back in the day when I would get something that I wasn't convinced it's 100% real, I used it, I didn't feel any effect. And later on, I tested, and it was actually Masteron or Parabolon or something, but I didn't believe it. I used it, not believing I didn't feel the effect. So long ago, I realized that if I make up my mind that something's going to work, it's much better than if I challenge and think, oh, that's not going to work. And even for everybody who's using either peptides or some supplements, you better convince yourself that it's going to work, because it's half of the success. I literally, I got it back in 95, Masteron and Parabolon that I used for 95 season. And I just didn't believe it. And then I complained, and I told these guys, you sold me the bullshit and all that stuff. And then he took me to his house and showed me the paperwork and everything. It was all legit. And then I continued using, and all of a sudden it started working.
That's funny. Do you feel like your dosages increased progressively in the beginning when you first started?
You see, I was also always somewhat afraid of high dosages. Dave said that 1,000 milligrams of test is norm. I think I mentioned to you, I never went over 750.
Yeah.
And most of my guys, this is 500 would be enough, because if you add other anabolics, to testosterone, DHT or NOR, it adds up. So I don't know where he came up with 1,000. I would never, but then I heard 2,000. And, people just like, okay, I'm going to use more and more and more. I do believe that anabolics made specifically to increase anabolism, not so much adrenogenic effect. And I loved using the rest more than test. Test would be 500, 750. Of course, when I was competing at Olympia, using 500, you kind of feel like you're shortening yourself, so, but 750 was norm. But I never did like anything huge amounts. The only thing that initially, the first cycles, when you do decadebol and test, I think I went 600 deca originally.
Okay.
Yeah. 50 milligram D-ball and 750 test.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just had to ask that question because Seth Rossi and I had a conversation of how like some guys are talking about there'll be people, like a very few percentage of people in say the comment section that'll be like, oh, all bodybuilders are taking like at least 1.5 grams of test. And Seth and I were discussing that, like that was something he had to work up to, you know, and not everybody hits that. Like you didn't hit that. I know quite a few other people that aren't even close to 1.5 grams of test, but still, regardless, you progressively work yourself up that over the years because you can't just jump to 1.5 off the bat.
No.
It's a lot of side effects.
Nobody should. I mean, I don't understand why people don't believe it, of course. Why would I talk about it now? You and I are talking here to lie to each other, to fool people, you know. The only things that was happening back in the day, some people bodybuilders would say a wrong thing to eliminate the competition. They tell the wrong thing, either too much or too little, right? But when you start thinking about it, 750 milligram per week, I think would be most common 1990 cycle. Ask anybody from that era. Maybe somebody went more, but I doubt. I doubt that any of major guys did more than that.
Okay.
Dorian, Sean, Flex, Kevin. I mean,
do you think that's just because they had other compounds that they added on, or is it more so because of the quality that back then versus the quality now?
Of test nowadays should be the same as before. Test is test. You can still find a pharmaceutical, test.
Yeah.
The other things for sure, when you get 76 milligram parabolon from France, is 76 milligrams of trembolone guarantee, and it worked like magic. We talk about it, 203. I don't think anybody in that whole era, 1990s, did more than 376 milligrams, whatever, 200-something milligrams of tren. Primo normally was, 500-600 that I've seen throughout the years escalated to 1,500 too.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I don't know why people, I'm not going to respond to this, so I'm going to do more. I'm not going to respond. You see, if you get off completely and your receptors are now ready for muscle memory thing and you just touch, the same amount is going to be same effect. But if you're constantly on it, then of course it's going to diminish.
Yeah. No, I agree with that for sure. Mm. And my experience the last few months has been an obvious result of that too. Mm. Okay. I forgot the last thing I was going to ask, but anyways, I'll probably remember it. But are you done to jump to the Q&A?
Well,
are you done?
I'm ready.
I want to rock it out real quick.
Yeah.
It's my problem that I always jump to the Q&A way too late. Dana Mendolia says, Milos, the mind, so amazing. Good job, bro. You're killing it. There's a bunch of people that are just excited that you're on the podcast.
Oh, good. Hello to everyone.
Michael Bautista asks, what is your approach to the post-show rebound?
Post-show rebound, okay. I would continue cycle for at least 4 weeks. Yeah, I would, because I think your body is so responsive when you're finally in a position that you are fat-free, okay? So you don't have to have that fat-burning phase that I talk about it. So now your metabolism is up, your body fat is gone, and now you can eat up. You don't have to be so restrictive and, be like, counting the carbs to a gram. Because usually when we count the calories and carbs to a gram close to the contents, we always underdo it. And I realized that, I think I mentioned in 1999, when I decided, okay, let me just see what would be upper limit. And I went to European Grand Prix Tour after the Olympia, beating Nasser somebody and Marcus Ruhl, and I was quite comparable in size because I did 1,000 grams of carbs. Maybe that's what you remember. That was at that time. And then I realized, like, oh my God, I'm just fully exploding. Look, I didn't put any body fat. So that's about maybe a limit that I could do this day in, day out, but train hard. So what I would tell you or anybody else that is now post competition, you are super lean. Now, none of us ever want to put body fat. So let's exclude possibility of putting a body fat, but let's push the calories as high up as we can and stay pharmacologically enhanced. I would probably change from your cycle that you were on for 10 weeks, maybe before the show, into just basic, maybe Bolden on testosterone for that period, 4 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Should I throw in maybe anadrol? Okay. Because usually you take away anadrol close to the contest, even though some people, push it all the way to the contest. But I would do 4 weeks of still on a cycle, be anabolic, and bump up your calories and push day in, day out. You can push a higher level. And as long as you wake up and you don't see you're losing your condition, okay, you can maybe bump it up even more. Can you come to 1,000 grams of carbs? Jake Utley used to do 1,000 grams of carbs easily. I think it's overkill. You don't need it. But my rebound period would be to maintain a lean tissue and put as much quality as you can. As soon as you still see that you are losing condition and you're putting some body fat, you're obviously overdoing it.
Okay.
But I wouldn't waste that period. I know that, for example, Chris Tuttle, he doesn't believe in a rebound period.
Mm-hmm.
I do. I think that made my career. That's why I competed so often, right? Because as soon as I would get off whatever last contest in March, I would rebound, and then I would have much better results in May, and then I would rebound. And I would have much better in September, October, and year after year after year.
See, Chris, you're wasting that period, man. I think that honestly, my personal belief is that honestly, either way you swing it works as long as you take periods off, like you were saying. But I feel like maybe yours worked because you always utilized or always made sure to take periods off of gear, so you were responsive. I think there's some guys, not everybody. The people that I know that utilize a rebound, for example, like Andy Paredes and his coach Prob, they had a period of time off, I think 8 to 16 weeks before his show. So he was already still kind of fresh by the time he hit this rebound, which is why they did that. And it seemed to work for him. But I think for a lot of guys these days, guys are running almost year-round cycles. So I think in that sense, sometimes it's not as effective if you haven't had a period of time off.
Whoever is in a
opinion.
year-long cycle, they should reconsider it, really.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if the 1990s are considered golden era, right? Which means we did something right, all of us. We looked a certain way, and a lot of people believe that's the best era in bodybuilding. All of those guys guarantee went completely off every time. Guarantee. How can you guarantee you don't live with them? I don't have to live with them. That was just like principle that we all followed.
Mm-hmm.
And then I don't know where was lost along the way. And then say like, you were a year and a half on it. Because again, you want to improve. So you think if I get off, I'm going to jeopardize my progress.
Which isn't true.
It's not true. Yes. It's
Mm-hmm.
not true. But that rebound, I'm all for it. And I always couldn't wait. Because listen, no matter what, when you're dialing for the contest, you're going to be deficient. And you're going to do the cardio. And you're going to be under, right? You're not going to be free to really be anabolic.
Mm-hmm.
So now you're not going to be able to use insulin, at that time probably because you're on such a low carbs. Okay? So now you're home free. Contest is over. I can use the insulin. I can use, good carbs, good protein, low fats. I'm still anabolic pharmacologically. I agree that also when Dave was telling you that 4 weeks after the cycle, whatever you were using is still working, So let's say if you do have 8-10 weeks off afterwards, you're just that 6-week period without something, but then you use PCT, you boost your natural, and you train like a maniac. You don't take excuses.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of what you were just saying, Craig Goliath asks, who was bigger?
Craig Goliath?
Yeah, good old Craig. Who was bigger to you, Dillette or Marcus?
Who was bigger? Marcus. I love Paul Dillette. His arms were phenomenal, right?
So
but
crazy.
when you consider amount of mass on the back, Marcus Ruhl,
Yeah.
And crazy chest. Both had solid legs, but in general, Marcus was bigger.
What do you think about the proportions nowadays? Do you think that they're good as is, or do you think the arms should be bigger? Since the proportions are a little different now than they were in the 90s.
Yeah. I mean, you can never have too big of the arms. And guy with no arms is saying that. Yeah, I wish I could have got arms, unfortunately. Arms are beautiful muscle, right? I can never think they could be too big. But what do you say, proportion between the arms and legs? I mean, legs nowadays are
I think
not good.
I just feel like the arms have gotten smaller.
Smaller?
I think everything else has gotten bigger, but the arms have gotten smaller.
I don't think the legs got bigger.
You don't think so?
Who has a good legs?
You don't think the legs got bigger proportionally?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Does okay? Look at the last year's Olympia. Okay, Derek improved the legs, but legs were his downfall. Constantly.
Yeah.
Andrew Jack doesn't have a great legs. Okay, the Samson has for sure. Who was fourth? Fourth was
Martin.
Martin. Martin has good legs. Okay.
Yeah, but Nick has really good legs too.
But I'm not impressed with any particular guy with these legs, so crazy, because I don't think that they train hard enough. That's another thing.
Yeah.
Because it's such a fresh. Dave was saying back in the day we all squatted. Yeah, there is no workout if you don't squat.
Mm-hmm.
Nowadays, who does?
Barbell squat specifically.
Barbell squats, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, call squat the only squat there is. That's a barbell squat. All these other imitations are, not a real squat.
Damn.
Yeah. Nobody wants to do it.
Yeah.
Now they're going to say,
well,
it's going to affect your waist or something.
I will say that I've always barbell squatted, and that was always my leg day. But the last couple of years, I think I realized that I would expend so much on myself barbell squatting, partially because of my ego. So that was partially my fault. But I would expend so much of my energy and fatigue on barbell squats. It was hard for me to finish the rest of the workout properly. These days, I do hack squats instead.
Hack squats is my favorite.
I like hacks a lot. I love
hack
it.
squats is my favorite, especially that hack press from New Tech. It's like the best thing ever. I could just do that and go home. I also think that if you do really super intense workout, can be very short and you can go home if you accomplish what you're supposed to. But just in general, now that you're saying arms and legs, I didn't notice that arms are smaller and legs are bigger.
I noticed that the torsos particularly have gotten bigger. The lats are wider. The chests are maybe a little bit bigger. People are wider, in my opinion, these days.
People are what?
People look, I don't know if it's wider, but just their lats are bigger. I feel like shoulders are a little bit more pronounced amongst the divisions as well. I just feel like the arms aren't as fucking immaculate, man. Like I'm looking at like Lee Priest and Dillette, and like I want, like that's like ideal for me. Like I was so happy when Ramon got first. One of the biggest reasons was simply because the dude has just fucking insane dominant arms.
And the forearms out of the hell. Yeah. I don't know. I really didn't ever think about it. Maybe arms go down and legs went up. I just don't think that anybody has amazing legs that was like, whoa, look at those legs. And back in the day, there was quite a few, You see Ronnie's legs or Jake Cutler's legs.
I mean, Ronnie's.
It's stupid.
Okay. There's so many questions. Coach Leonards asks, what are your thoughts of DHB use in prep?
DHB, I mean, it's fairly new. I had tried it myself. I gave it to the people. Dihydroboldenone. when we talk about all the compounds, what they originally made for, and why did athletes and bodybuilders start using for anabolic purposes, right? All the medications, even when we talk about Trembolone. Trembolone was actually for human use first in France, not veterinarian. It was actually used. What was used for? What was made for exactly for cachexia, muscle wasting diseases, to refresh, rebuild, and all that stuff for anabolic actions, okay? And still to this day, Trembolone is considered king of the kings, right? And they pull off the market. Why? Because side effects. But then they realized it's so anabolic and tissue building, or they were going to put in vet industry, cattle to put the size. And that's how, continued. So Boldenone, as testosterone derivative, is great. Most of the people use it successfully. Major guys rely on it. Okay. Now, dihydroboldenone, would it be that much different? What kind of property is going to be? Is going to be less fluid retention? Who can claim that? Who did the study, to make that claim? Do you know anybody? There's a lot of guys that speak like they have 30 years of knowledge, research, and results. Yeah. I mean, I use DHB because, let me use it myself. And I didn't feel any water retention like I would with the Boldenone. Okay. But would I prefer DHB over, let's say, Primo or Winstrol? No. It's fairly new. And, if you use to experiment with, or use because for sure this is a king, this is it can be missed. So I'm not too sold on it.
Okay. Joey208 asks, what's the most gear that you ran at once?
Yeah, if it's 750 of testosterone, and I would say 300, for sure under 2 grams, for sure under, probably 1.5. Because if I would take anything oral, like tablets would be 50 milligrams, right? Doesn't matter if it's Winstrol or oxandrolone. Halotestin would be at the 30 milligrams. Anadrol was 75. I would do 3 times 25 a day. So times 7 days, 75. What is that? 500, right? So yeah, okay. I would say then 2 grams.
Okay. What would you say? What are your thoughts on using Anavar for collagen synthesis and preserving your joints, whether it's off season or prep?
I love oxandrolone.
Yeah,
I love oxandrolone, and even have some friends. They're not into bodybuilding. They're using for that purpose, and they did the same, like so many studies, and they said that the only anabolic steroids that is safe to use for a long period of time. I love it.
I guess I'm thinking about what I wonder how effective like a microdose would be during your off season.
20 milligrams.
Like 20 milligrams. Just to kind of see if it helps preserve your joints. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Get Cooked Official asks, do you feel unique posing routines like yours are looked at enough in judging nowadays?
No, you see, that's the thing that I have argued a million times. There's not posing that is being judged. And why would it be? It's physique show. So physique should be judged for just physique, not your ability to pose and move and, create, which people don't understand. Symmetry round back in the day was stand there, feet together, arms by your sides, front, side, back. You can't even pose. So they can assess your true body, symmetry, proportion, balance, aesthetics. So this is it. You can't pose. And nowadays they do this, the bicycle and ride a horse. It looks ridiculous. So that's not assessment of the true physique. Okay, that was first. Muscularity round, they determine, okay, we want to see all the muscles from every angle, but we want to lower it down to the minimal amount. And the minimal amount was 8 mandatory poses that see every muscle from front, side, and back. They could do 20 mandatory poses, but it's too much. Okay, they choose this. So you have a front double biceps, front lat spread. And I say, ooh. Dennis and I were fighting yesterday on the podcast. Front double biceps, it's not that they're looking just biceps. Of course it's not. They're looking at your whole body. But it's still emphasis on every pose is called, oh, this is front double biceps. Biceps is a major thing that they're looking, even though they're looking at the whole physique. Side chest, they're looking at the chest. Lat spread, how much you can spread your lats, and each and every one of them. But those are 8 mandatory poses. The third round, okay, this is what people think it's about posing. It's about posing routine. It was never, why would that matter if I'm skilled poser and my body looks like shit? You know, why would my routine get me higher in that third round? Third round is you have a non-mandatory poses that can show your physique in different light that mandatories didn't show.
Mm-hmm.
I mentioned this always. I had a horrible back double biceps, but my twisting back shot was pretty good, you know, so good that I use it as my symbol in the Colosseum gym, you know, so I could show my back and the biceps in the pose that you didn't see in the mandatories. And now all of a sudden, oh, listen, but he doesn't have such a bad back. He couldn't pose in this particular mandatory pose, but he actually has it. So my routines, obviously, I was showing all the strengths that I had. Obviously, aesthetics will train. And I did choreography just, you know, you still want to entertain people and make them remember and they like it. But it was never about my posing routine. I think nowadays, some people, they try to emphasize movement more than the body. If direction is towards the movement, I'm not appreciating physique. So if you move too much, right, and people are looking at what you're doing, instead of, let me look at your physique and judge you for physique. So I don't like that overdoing posing routines and being so dramatic. What the drama has to do with the physique? What really movement, ability to, you know, move has to do with the physique? You know what I mean?
Mm.
The worst physique can move the best, and doesn't mean nothing.
Okay. Okay. Huang Fit asks, would you continue bodybuilding and compete if you had terrible genetics?
Oh, would I do it?
Yeah.
I would probably do it. I mean, because you force yourself to improve one way or another. There's a lot of people with not favorable genetics that accomplish a lot. You know?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Rich Gaspari, the first guy that passed in the head, he was second several times next to Lee Haney, beating everybody else. And I don't think he had the greatest genetics. But hard work. Now everybody's mentioning Nick Walker. You know, you have to love Nick Walker. I mean, he really is doing what he has. He's making most of it, and he's probably the most popular bodybuilder in the world right now. You know, everybody has to like him because he is so likable. But I always say, in order for him to escalate to be a really contender to win the title, that stomach has to be flat at all times and waist reduced to the whatever he can, you know. Jake Cutler didn't have a small waist, but he had a shoulder so wide that made him look still X-framed and V-tapered. And I don't think it was the wrong decision, him beating, you know, Dexter Jackson, who has a perfect physique. Dexter beat him in 2008. In 2009, he came back and reclaimed the title. I'm the shape guy. I'm a Dexter guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I could see why judges would give it to Jay. Yeah, because he maintained that X-frame V-taper and enough differential, but has so much more muscle and yeah.
Hey, Hoda asks, what's the year that you got the biggest and how did you do it?
99. And I think I told you I regret it. I didn't like it. I came into the bodybuilding to accomplish certain look, and I really accomplished that look 97. I was progressing, you know, you come into bodybuilding because you want to create art of your own body, whatever you consider to be artistic. And for me, it was never about size. But then because 97, even though I won first pro show finally, at Olympia, I'm 10th. In 98, again, I tried to maintain, and I placed 11th. And at that time, it was like, okay, everything was towards size. I said, okay, let me put a size. So right after 98 Olympia, until Ironman, which was maybe 3-4 months, I said, okay, you want size, I'll give you a size. And if anybody can pull the difference from 98 Olympia to Ironman, Arnold Classic, 99 Olympia, and European Tour, it was tremendous. I was about 20 pounds heavier, fully loaded, all that stuff. Ruined my body with the Synthol injection to my arms. But overall, I was bigger everywhere.
What did you do to get bigger?
Insulin and not restricting the reasonable amount. So reasonable amount is always when we predetermine, okay, your BMR, what you're doing, so you calculate your nutrition according to, okay, I'm going to be there. But this time was, okay, I'm going to overdo it. I'm going to just blow up. Still watching that I don't get the body fat that I'm going to regret having. I guess in 99 Madrid, I posted on my Instagram, I was 278 and in very good condition for 278. And then I ended up competing 255. And before that was like 237.
Mm-hmm.
But as much as judges liked my 99 look, and I know that if right now they compare 99, 97, they will all give it to 99, I would give it to 97.
Okay.
But so I would please myself, but I would place nowhere.
What do you feel like you did that year that made you gain a physique that you weren't so proud of?
You see that's
specifically.
That's exactly what it is. 99, I did much more giant sets and blowing up every workout to the point, like, when you feel super good about your pump in the body that you see in the mirror.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I would go for that. When you go for that heavy duty myofibrillar hypertrophy, those super heavy sets never make you pump. Right?
Mm.
You can have a heavy, yeah, you can achieve a somewhat pump.
Yeah.
But when you really do the sarcoplasmic and volumize that cell, I was using insulin every pre-workout and post-workout. And yes, I, as much as they're going to point a finger at me, oh, look at it, I did sometimes twice a day, sometimes four shots a day. Not every time. Let's say legs, I didn't do it. And back, I would skip every so often. If I would do bend over rows and T-bar rows and all this stuff, a couple of times actually I puked because I used intra-workout. And then I realized, okay, I can't.
Okay. Launched-In asks, can you ask him how much he thinks there is a synergy between insulin, HGH, and test?
Oh, there's all three different pathways. You see, GH is also not considered really anabolic. It's more anti-catabolic, And then insulin, they said that it's accidentally anabolic. Come on. It's all anabolic properties from different aspects. Test is test, or anabolic steroids is a synthetic derivative of the testosterone. So I don't know if people also consider just testosterone is it. As I told you, I think that anabolic steroids are, much more important for bodybuilders than testosterone. Insulin for me is obviously a logical choice that a lot of people gonna argue with. And GH, I mean, you know very well, small dosages throughout the year, several peaks a day, do magic. I mean, synergetically, it all works perfectly.
Okay. Sven Langen asks, so what are your thoughts on Masteron versus Primo?
Primo would be my preference at the 10 weeks out, and switch to Masteron at the 5 weeks out. Yeah, it's comparable, even though a lot of people don't think so. I do. So this is how it is. About the same dosage, milligram per milligram. If you do 500-600 milligrams, that's about the appropriate dosage, even though Masteron, people sometimes take like 300. I would do much more Masteron than I would do the trend. Like if they would do 300, normally, how you see a lot of people do, close to the contest, I wouldn't be opposed of a higher Masteron up to 600.
I feel like that's a lot more common these days.
Yeah,
I think people are doing a little bit less trend and a little bit more Masteron than in the past.
Yeah.
Daniel asked, would you try Vigorous Steve's Bathmate protocol?
I mean, I met Vigorous Steve, but I don't know what he's doing. What kind of protocol?
His Bathmate protocol. It's
Bath what?
Bathmate.
I don't know what it means.
No. It's injecting HCG and then using a penis pump to make your dick bigger.
Oh, Jesus.
Pod God.
Penis pump? What is that? That's carbagoline? No, I mean, what it's called? I just talk about it. Injection of Coverject. Is this what you think?
Wait, what is that?
Coverject?
I don't know what that
I
is.
talk about this. So there was with Dennis James. We said, "Oh, did you try this? Did you try that?" Because some of the coaches are using that Coverject like Aciclen before, shooting whatever, shoulders, biceps, triceps, something like that. And I embarrassed myself already talking about it. One porn star from Italy told me about it. That's the dick injection, right? I said, I don't know what he's talking about. But nobody needs it. But if they use it, they represent, so that's like next level of, enhancement and shit like this. So I tried it once, super painful and all this stuff, right? I never use it again. And absolutely works, but it's supposed to be in a dick, not in a muscle. So I don't know. Vigorous Steve probably experimented something and
Steve, you should add that to your stack. Steve's got a pretty big stack already.
I don't know what he does. I know that he's quite knowledgeable, but we never really discussed many issues.
Let's do one last one.
I have a time if don't worry. Unless you do, you don't.
What do you think? Okay, PPL Dad asks. He has two good questions. I'll ask both of them. PPL Dad asks, is it okay to use generic HGH if you don't have access or can't afford pharma GH?
That's that trusting. Like I said, my father told me placebo. If I convince myself that it's working, it's going to work.
Yeah.
And if I question it, maybe
Right.
not. I was using a lot of generic that I didn't believe in. I was in China for 2.5 months, and a friend of mine that invited me there provided me with the Chinese, and I used 10 units a day, and I felt like nothing that I did ever in my career. Like, holy shit. I always liked genotropin. I like humatrop. Norditropin was not bad, but...
Do you ever try Serostim?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. If you're going to give me a gift, genotropin or Serostim, I'll take genotropin.
Okay, now I know what to get you for your birthday.
And interestingly, even Jay agreed, Humatrop is probably most favored. It's probably not around anymore. I don't know.
I haven't really heard of it.
Oh, yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah. And he agreed with me. Yeah. Norditropin was already pre-mixed. And a lot of pros use it and I liked it, but I kind of also didn't trust it.
Okay.
But I'm going to say this again. I just mentioned it to Dennis's podcast. I got some GH from a Russian guy that was visiting in New Tech Gym. You know, because I trained a Russian lady, and they gave me a gift. Just a kid thinking. And he was thinking, maybe if I get a gift, I would love GH. So they gave me GH. It's a pre-mixed.
Uh-huh.
And man, I blew up about 12, 15 pounds.
Oh, dang. Wow.
Yeah.
Wait, which one was that?
I forget the name of it. It's pre-mixed already. I forget the name of the company. I'll take a picture and send it to you.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't have really changes in my body, dramatic changes for quite some time. And now all of a sudden, like, I'm putting like a couple of pounds every day. Like, hold on, it can't be. And, you know, I used for a week.
Mhm.
And yeah, I was like 10 pounds heavier. And so I kind of like it.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I've just been hearing I've been hearing things recently from some of the guests saying that they really believe that generic GH just isn't the same as former GH. That like it makes a big difference. But
if you
I don't
take
know.
ibuprofen or Advil, right, or any generic medication or brand name, it's supposed to be the same compound. Right?
Mhm.
It's 191 amino acids, right? So how is really different? That recombinant technology, how they make it, I don't know. I would believe that if it's pharmaceutical company, not underground you can never trust.
Mhm.
I mean, underground it could be whatever.
Mhm.
I think that back in the day, they were selling some GH. There was actually ACG. That was maybe 10 years ago. There was like one thing.
I've heard of that. Where some of them are definitely like you can get tested and you'll notice like your estrogen skyrocketing.
Yeah.
PBL Dad asks most underrated and most overrated PED in your opinion.
Most underrated? Okay, 1 second. Well, it is insulin because a lot of people are underrated. They still think it's not working and it's not worth it. It's like, you know, I didn't use it. I don't recommend it for no other reason but because I know what it can do.
Mhm.
As far as anabolics, I think underrated is oxandrolone because it's considered cutting and girly stack. It doesn't do much, but I think it's most wonderful combination of anabolic action and hardener. Health-wise, you don't have to worry about hepatotoxicity or something. I like it. Most overrated? Possibly Trenbolone, you know, because yeah, it's working, yeah, but they make it like it's separate category. It's like superior to everything else.
Mhm.
I think that many are very, very comparable. Interestingly enough, a lot of pro bodybuilders, people are going to question, like, yeah, they don't use it or they didn't want to use it or can't use it. Everybody knows my story with Samson. He didn't want to use it and he refused to use it for, you know, a certain time. And then, you know, as I recommended and let's try a little bit and he responded very good and he went back on it. But there are Trent brothers. There is all the Trenbolone. Trenbolone was always mentioned like it's really superior to everything else. I don't think so.
Okay.
I could have a cycle completely without the Trenbolone.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, I ask everybody one last question at the end of every podcast, but if you were to disappear from the world tomorrow and you had one message you could send to the entire world today, what would your message be?
Yeah, for everybody on planet Earth, always do the right thing. Writing. You know, because, you know, being selfish in any way, it's such a turnoff. Giving is much greater gift than receiving. And if anybody would ever consider this and do something to the perfect stranger, they're gonna soon realize the value of life. This is what I mean. I'm raised that way. I think you asked me that before, and I said show love, love, to the world,
Yeah.
which is all about. But more than love, it's like do the right thing. If you can honestly say that everything you do is right because you processed and you choose this is the right path and you're going to do it, and then how you're going to affect not just yourself but the people around you. And I would like much more to see people doing things for others. Yeah.
Me too, man. I like that. Thanks, brother. Thanks for coming on the podcast.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Milos Sarchev, everybody. Is there anything you'd like to promote or where people can find you?
I'm good.
Yeah,
I'm good. I'm just here to, have a podcast with you,
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't talk about a couple of things. I was planning to, but then it strayed away. If I can actually say so.
Yeah, please. Yeah.
What bothers me the most? People make everything like so complicated, and you have to be like so knowledgeable and so experienced, and doing so much research, and everything is so simple. When I started, I was 17 years old, and I learned ABC of nutrition. You know what protein does, and you know what energy nutrients do. Okay, what are you going to choose to take and how much? It's so goddamn simple. But people are making, I'm going to be on this diet. The diet's supposed to be at every moment give body everything needed in exact amount and exact times so you can function properly. If something is missing and it can be compensated, and then something have to be converted into what is missing, that's when now you're not maximizing. So this is the first thing, nutrition. Oh, I don't know what to eat. You know damn well how to eat. If you put anything wrong in your body and you know that you're not going to benefit, why would you take something that your body is not going to benefit from? And that's where the junk food comes about. And you close your eyes, you don't think about it. I'm just going to have a pizza and burger and French fries. And what is that doing to you? Okay, if it's occasionally just to satisfy your taste, I understand. But I lived 40-something years with a clean diet. It's so possible. When I mentioned Lee Tristan, right? 5 years of zero carbs and teenager when people were needing. So that's nutritionally okay. Now, if you're going to choose to go pharmacological way to enhance yourself and not be natural, okay, now you're stepping into something that you should research and know pluses and minuses, benefits and side effects. Okay, start with the microdosing and watch for the side effects. If any are there, discontinue, obviously. If not, now maybe you're on the right pathway. And to close this, I'm not going to repeat myself 2,000 times, but I didn't have a single side effect, and I'm living proof of that. You probably heard, Milos's protocols, and I'm crazy. I'm putting my guys on some crazy amounts. I'm not. Why would I? Like I said before, would 2,000 milligrams be better than 1,000? Why would it be? Wouldn't 1,000 milligrams of something combined anabolics and androgenics sound like, okay, this is much more than I'm naturally producing, so I'm going to be enhanced, let me see what happens without thinking that I need to double and triple.
Mm-hmm.
So in that sense, everything is so simple if people want to think about it. But training-wise, again, just heavy or just light, you're supposed to combine. You also mentioned, who told you that? Do what you like. Did I hear this from you? When you go to the gym, do what you like. Yeah. Maybe I heard it from somebody else. I thought that you said it maybe with Dave also. Did Jay Cutler tell you that?
I don't remember.
I don't remember. Yeah, maybe I'm confusing you now for somebody. But if you go to the gym, yeah, you should choose the things that you really love doing. And there is so many exercises for so many body parts that you should love doing, right? And this is how you're gonna love. You can't wait to come back to the gym and do the same thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Sorry,
Thanks, brother.
I had to add closing argument.
No, I think it was a good conclusion. Thanks for watching, guys. Rate us 5 stars and subscribe if you haven't subscribed. It helps us get amazing guests like Milos and have some really dope podcasts where we talk about drugs and
Yeah, I mean,
the good shit in life. All right, peace, guys. Love y'all.